Ford Video Guy Studio in Salina, Kansas is McArthur Live with Tim Bartz and Sarah Davis. For all the information on ordering and production, Ford news, recalls, debunking all the fake news on social media, and whatever's on their mind, here's your hosts, Tim and Sarah. Welcome in, everybody. Forgot to add our camera in there, but we got to chatting during the intro there. How is everybody doing? Hopefully you guys are having a great Tuesday here. And it's pretty nice, overcast. It looks like it's going to rain all day, but did not. But it was still hot. I don't know what the weather.
It's cooling off this evening.
So drop it in the comments if you're on with us live. Of course, we are recording this as a podcast. But if you are listening to the podcast, don't forget to come over Tuesday nights, 7 p.m. Central here on our YouTube channel to join in the conversation live. And put in the chat. I want to know where you're from. What's the temperature like there? And let's start that out. That'll be fun to kind of find out where everybody's at and what it's like there. So I got a new mug here. So got this Bronco or Ford merchandise had sale going on. So got two of these for the camper, but it says Bronco on it and it has different trim levels. We got the Built Wild, Outer Banks, and different locations you can go. And there's something in the cup, right? So
figure it out.
Is he in here? Is Niles in here?
Not that I've seen yet.
Oh well, we'll wait. All right. So we gotta slide, but yeah. All right. Well, maybe I went a little too early on that. Wait for Niles to get in here, but we got a special for Niles there to show him a little bit. Anyway. Let's see what else is going on. The patches went out, so we got our patches. I think I showed you guys in the live stream. We got our patches in. It has the Kansas theme. It comes with a sticker, and we sent out everybody that gave me patches. All these people, they received their patches. Everybody's getting them on Instagram and tagging me. They are arriving in your mailboxes. If you some people didn't trade patches because they didn't have them yet. Those of you that have gotten stickers from and you have patches, let's share. So tag me on Instagram at Ford Video Guy, and you can find me there and message me, and we'll trade patches. So that'll be fun. So get those out, and not sure where I'm going to put all those patches, but it's fun. It's fun. Mm-hmm. Should put them in the Bronco, but a lot of people are doing it on their hard tops. So, but we don't have a hard top. So anyway, there you go. So back of the seat, something. Anyway, be a lot of fun. So see what else is going on. Let me pull up my notes. We'll wait for a little bit. We'll actually here we could start with this. So this is really fun. So Sarah said I could share this here. Let me get it on the screen. So probably won't hear the audio on this. I got to figure that part out. But we had a little fun yesterday. We got the relatives from Cincinnati. They're in town, and of course, last night Sarah was getting her hair colored. It looks really nice. What do you guys think? So she's getting her hair colored by her sister there, and we had to take all the kids. They were all needing to get out, so we went to the park. Mm-hmm. And your little son Theo is a climber.
The 2-year-old.
I think
2.
Yes, I think he got this from his mama, who got that from her dad. Actually, here. Hold on. There you go. That's what I wanted to show. All right. So this is little Theo. How old is he? 2?
He's 2 and 2 months.
2 and 2 months. Check out this climber.
Yeah, switch this back on.
All right, so that was fun. And if you didn't catch it at the end, then we helped the oldest grandson there that has spina bifida. He was going to climb up it too, and he does a good job. He really didn't need my help except for his feet were kind of wide for both feet for that. But it was a blast. For those of you that were listening to the podcast, that was 30 seconds of dead air, probably. But describe for you. So Sarah's son he's a climber. He really didn't need help on any of that stuff, but that kid can climb like crazy. But we had a lot of fun there.
He's a rock climber. He scales rocks. He climbs anything and everything. There are certain parks that we don't go to because they are taller and meant for older children to be climbing. We don't go to those just because it is so tall. If he climbs something and you try and follow, he's already to the next thing. So it's just there's parks that you don't take him to because he will climb it. And it's nerve-wracking for him to be up there.
Yeah, I like that one where we climbed the net, the two of us. We had it on live stream once. Yeah, we climbed that. So, yeah, that's crazy. So
he tries to climb that. He's getting there.
Niles, if you're on, make your presence known. He should be here because he knows we have something special for him. Mm-hmm. Anyway, we'll get to that in just a little bit. But, yeah, so a lot of fun. See what else is going on in my notes. Just kind of let you know some of the videos that we've had go live recently. Skate videos. We've gone through almost all the skate videos, and for those of you that followed along on those videos, I do have a correction on those. So people have asked. They actually took off the wording speed sign recognition from the adaptive cruise control, and they changed it from intelligent to adaptive cruise. Actually, I think they did that mid-year last year. 24 model year, and they don't have it in there, but they added predictive speed assist, which predictive speed assist, it will help slow the vehicle down if you go into a curve. It uses a horizon to see there's a curve ahead and slows you down for that curve. And so I contacted the brand manager. I said, does it not have the speed sign recognition though? They said, oh yeah, it's still got it. We just changed the wording to predictive speed assist. And I'm like, well, I guess I could see that for the speed signs. But when I look up predictive speed assist in the e-source guide, it mentions that it works with speed sign recognition. So to omit it all together, I think is a little confusing, but I think they're changing that on all of them. So I'll make the correction on the very last video, which is Escape plugin. And I'm putting a note on all highlighted pin comment on all the other videos. But so it is there. Speed sign recognition is still there. They didn't take that away, but they did take away some things to make it cheaper. And I think they made it look like they lowered the price on the Escape when really they just took out some standard equipment and now made it optional, like the power lift gate not being standard anymore. And the spare tire is not standard, which we'll get into that in a second. I mean, we want to talk about spare tires and changing tires. That was got a chance to do that on the Maverick yesterday. And Ford, I shouldn't say too much because they invited me to a special event, so I can't say too. I won't bash it too much yet. I'll wait until after I get back from that event. But anyway, yeah. So anyway, we'll leave that for later. But all right, so those of you who've had to change a tire on a Maverick, where your jack's located is.
Well, and Jeff, you mentioned that you have to use that jack because of the key to lower it down.
Unless you can find something that's exactly the same size square that fits over the,
right.
Somebody
so, because Jeff was like, "Hey, so why isn't he just use the jack from his Bronco or from something that's more accessible?" Because
it needs to be a truck, yeah.
Yeah, it has to be a truck because you have to have that rod that sticks in there to lower down that tire. He's like, "Oh, I didn't think about that."
So I think the Ranger F-150s, I think they all use the same one because most of them have the spare tire underneath the bed. Use the same attachment, I think, but I don't know for sure. But yeah, you kind of had to get that out. I mean, and then I was going to use my own jack, and then even I have a one-ton hydraulic jack, so I can use that. So I didn't have to get that part out. But yeah.
Yep.
Yes, not fun. And then what's funny is I had to locate the jack, which is, I had to get to the jack, which means I had to unharness. She has 2 car seats in there, so I had to unbuckle both car seats so I could move the backrest forward to get to the jack. And then I was like, we need to put this in your cargo area. You got that cubby back there. And guess what I did? I put it back behind the back seat. I don't know what I was thinking. I'm like, yeah. Anyway, so and then we put
You're putting everything back the way it was.
I did. So anyway, all right. I don't know if Niles isn't here yet or not, but we're gonna. So guys got to figure out what's in the cup. What's in my Bronco cup right here. Figure that out right there. All right. And then other videos, we have a special lifted F-150. We did 2 custom builds for some customers on lifted regular cab F-150. So I did a video on that, as well as the Maverick Monday video as well that went live yesterday, talking about allocations and such like that coming back. Turn and earn allocations that are coming back for the Maverick, not coming back, are finally switching over to turn and earn, basically based on how well you sell vehicles, which we were excited, really excited after we found out what our number was. Anyway, and then also the great deals you can get at McArthur. And we did a lot walk, which is what I kind of do for our members, but just on the new. That went live to the public to talk about the great deals that are on F-150s and Broncos. Now, Broncos did lose about $1,500. So part of that was for a contest that was going on last month, which we did hit, thankfully. So that all the money was proactive back to the first unit. It was special $1,500, but that deal is now gone for July. So all of our Broncos are now $1,500 more than they were, unless we had sold it yesterday. So we could have dated it, but otherwise, yeah. And then, so that video, and then also we'll have a video next week, or actually in a couple, actually tomorrow, on the Escape plug-in. And then I'm working on that Bronco off-roading video. There's so much footage there, GoPro and stuff. So we're going to work on that. And there's more I wanted to include because we had so much fun. But I'm like, okay, I got to keep this a little bit shorter for the McArthur channel. But I might have a version for the Ford Video Guide channel that's longer. That's stuff that I thought was fun. And so it'll be a longer version of it. So you'll be looking for those hopefully come this week. I might even have to do that on 4th of July. Work on that day just because it's got so much footage. And then a Maverick Monday next week, which, there you go. And then during the scheduling, we'll talk about allocations and what allocations, how many allocations are earned. So let's just say we are taking orders for 24 model year. Bring on your order. We can help you out. So we'll get into that because we can guarantee October deliveries for Mavericks. That's all we'll say for right now. All right, now still not in here. All right,
he must be doing chores.
All right, don't forget about some of the channels that we like to, kind of highlighting down there in the description or the show notes. Check them out. We got Johnny's Car Care Reviews. He's out of Canada. We got All Train Nation. Those guys, as well as Ali and our members, Ragnacon, who's in the chat. He is in there. He had a fun video on the tool bag this last week. I really enjoyed watching that, what you get. And I created my own tool bag, and he says I should do a video on that. And I might, but I'm not much of a mechanic, so it's just kind of willy-nilly. I actually took Ford's tool bag, and then I kind of replicated what they had to put in my own one. And then I incorporated, because he noticed there were a couple missing, and I noticed that too when I was going through the list. Because we actually remember when we were at SEMA, we saw that tool bag, and I took a picture of the paper that was in there of all the tools that were included, and I used that to try to replicate and make my own, and which I did. Yeah, a lot cheaper, probably less than $100.
The only other time I've seen that tool bag is one of the Ford sponsored Rebel Rally ladies got a set.
Yeah, you can get them through Ford Accessories. And like he did, he used his Ford Pass points. And that would be, my recommendation too, because it is pretty pricey, but it's kind of cool. So anyway, he had a great video on kind of going through his thoughts on it, pros and cons. And I like that. That was really good. So check out that. And we have some other of our members that are down there too. Driven Wild Outdoors. He does really good overviews, and he is on the mechanical side. He is very, very smart when it comes to that. And let's see who else. I don't know. There's some others. Bronco Nation's down there, but they don't do a lot of videos anymore. But they're down there. And of course, so there you go. All right. Vols, not yet. He asked about allocations.
Yep. I saw
Not
that.
yet. We'll do that during the scheduling information, and go over that, and we'll probably do some actually in the dealer news update too. So a couple times. Let's see what else. Yeah. Other than that, there is. Don't forget about our merch down and is available. The merch site is in a link in the show notes as well as the comment or the description of the video. There is a special going on to July 4th, 25% off
Hmm.
on July 4th. So if you want to buy anything like this here, this shirt is a Ford video guy that's off of our merch site. So you can, of course, you don't have to get this shirt because most people don't want a polo shirt with Ford video guy on it. But we have T-shirts on there and other stuff, hats and all kinds of stuff. If you want to get a good deal, 25% off going on July 4th. All right. Personal website. Yeah, you guys know all that stuff. Just look down the show notes and description and you find all that stuff. All right. Should we get in and talk about members?
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about our members because we love our members. How can you become a
Yes.
member, Sarah?
If you'd like to become a member, it is right there beside the subscribe button. You just hit the join button. If you're an iPhone user, you do have to do things a little bit differently. You have to go to your web browser, go up to the little a and big A, and request desktop browser. At that point, you should be able to see it.
There you go. And of course, you can find all of our content there on the main page of our YouTube channel. Plus, all of our a lot of times when we post things to our members, it's in the community tab, and only members can see it in the community tab. When it's a member only content, and members get to see content a little earlier than everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So, like yesterday, a lot of our members got to see things even 2 hours in advance.
Yep.
Depends on if I want to schedule it out, they'll get to see it ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, our lot walk on Saturdays and our member live on Fridays, which we have a lot of fun in there and learn from each other and help me come up with ideas for videos. All right. So, with that in mind, let's talk about our members. You got some member shout outs? Which is the other thing you get is member shout outs on our live streams when you come in here.
All right. We're going to start off with Ridgeview. He is our wonderful moderator. He says, see you folks soon. That was before the live stream. He's usually one of our first ones into the live stream.
Yep.
We have Ghost Stang in here. We have Alan. Hello, everyone. Going to be hot here this weekend, 102.
Ooh.
We have R. Quibido. Hello. We have Mike M. Happy Independence Day week. We have Elizabeth. Evening, y'all. Mab Sim. Evening, everyone. Got a Moxie sign, so I now have enough of Moxie to get rowdy. We have Bucko. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Tim Tuesday.
Tim and Sarah Tuesday.
We have Bud Guy 8829. Hello. Douglas Blair. Time for the evening nap with Tim and company. He also said, click the like button. Tim gets a new t-shirt after 200 likes. We have Donald Rash. Good evening, all, and happy 4th. What's in that cup? Mike Lyons. Hello, all from OKC. 98 here currently. Jack Evans. Hello, all. Happy 4th. Hey, Sarah. Rays playing the Royals in KC. Go Rays. Don't really keep up with them very often. We have Rochester, New York, 77 cooling down. Terry McGee. Mike M. Hello. RagnarCon. Wait, not that one. There he is. My name is Niles. I like drones and accessories, I guess. Maybe dogs. Niles strikes me as a dog person.
He is.
So he's pretending to be Niles tonight while Niles is not here. He's filling in. We have Mid-Coast Maine. Good evening, Tim and Sarah, and all from the Maine coast.
What's it like in Maine right now? What's the temperature like?
I haven't
Maybe
seen...
you shouldn't tell me. I may not want to know.
Jack Evans. I remember those climbing days. Wait, no, I don't. You're more of a golfer, I think. We have Linda Hoffer, Northeast Ohio, sunny, 80 degrees and low humidity, perfect summer weather. We have Mike M, 31 months and going to miss seeing those of you attending the meetup. I may miss next week's live. I will be in Orlando on semi-vacation.
There you go.
We have Steve Young, evening everyone. Mabsim, I stumbled on a porcelain Moxie sign that says, what this country needs is plenty of Moxie.
Here.
I think I mentioned that. Oh, yeah. There we go.
There you go.
Vol says, I fully expect Tim will address Maverick Customer Satisfaction Program number 23906 at the appropriate time. Most likely.
Maybe. I think I got that in there.
Let's see. And I saw a couple of people jumping in. We have Johnny's Cark here. It was great meeting up with Tim Bartz and Sarah, seeing Ridgeview and his wife again. We have, I think I saw Carl hop in. Happy 4th. And Randy, happy 4th. Enjoying the Super Duty. There we go. I'm pretty sure I got all of you, but if I didn't, I'm so sorry.
There we go. Okay, so continuing on, I did have a slide in here I made it just for Niles. So what's in Tim's cup? So I have a beautiful Bronco cup here with, you guys has anybody guessed what's in it?
I don't know if I can do this. No one's guessed yet.
Moxie. So it is Moxie, but it's only one can of Moxie. And I told Sarah, I'm like, I'm going to need more to drink than just one can of Moxie, because I'm going to get this Moxie in me. And we'll get a little rant going, but and we'll see how things go. But yeah, so there you go. So Moxie now might end up being a Mountain Dew later. We'll just have to see. But yeah, somebody said soda. Yeah, right. Soda. Could be coffee. Because you don't know what the temperature is of that.
Dark tea.
Anyway, I like it.
Ridgeview says that we took all the humidity with us when we left.
Of course.
We left here, it was like in the 80s. As soon as we came back, it was back up into the 90s and climbed into the hundreds later on.
Yeah.
So but then when we were in Maine, it was in the 90s.
Yeah, we brought it back with us. All right. Are you ready for a dealer moment? Good dealer moment?
Yes, I have it pulled up already.
I think I've got everything covered.
I was actually here early this week.
I think I've done all my advertising of our channel, the personal channel, website. I got all out of the way. So we do a little advertising at the beginning, but none through the rest of it. All right, you ready?
Yes. So this week we have Tyndall Ford in Gastonia, North Carolina. Salesman was Nathan Hanley. They said, it was really good. I did my due diligence and got my truck right where I needed it to be. And my sales representative was very helpful and understanding because of my disability. I'm glad he was so willing to help me. So that's Nathan Hanley at Tyndall Ford in Gastonia, North Carolina.
All right. And actually, they're pretty good Roush dealer as well, I think.
Oh.
They're one of the top Roush dealers, too, along with us. So,
well, there you go.
There you go. All right. So, we're going to get into scheduling information.
All right.
Which might be a little underwhelming for some people for this week, but there we go. Let me add this here. We'll kick over and get started. All right, we're going to get into schedule information for this week. And, of course, just like we do each week, we start that off by going over the different terminologies we're going to use in this. And so this week is, here, before we get into that, this week will probably won't be a lot of scheduling. And you'll notice that. In fact, I think they're closed. And we have see that happen on when there's holidays like this. July 4th being on Thursday. Thursday is the day they schedule. So because of that, they are planning none of the models will schedule this week. But we are going to get into talking about some stuff for next month, which is going to be starting here pretty soon. So we'll get into talking about, July's allocations and September's production and information on that in this video today. Since they're not scheduling, I thought that'd be a good way to be able to start that off. But to get into that, let's talk about terminology. So in case you're wondering what we're talking about when an order schedules for production. That's what's trying to happen here. If you place that order, with a dealer, and the dealer places all their stock and retail orders in what they call the order bank. Customer order is also called a retail order. A stock order is one order made by a dealer for lot or stock inventory. And if they don't have any retail orders, then they need to have stock orders in there to fulfill those allocations so they can get inventory and have vehicles to sell. Priority code, that is a priority given by the dealer for orders 03 through 19 is a retail order numbers. 20 to 80 is stock. The lower, the better. So it's kind of like golf. So if you have a priority 3, your order is going to be looked at before priority 4, and so on and so forth. That's why retail is always looked at for scheduling before a stock one is. When we talk about scheduling, that is when Ford schedules an order for a production date in the future months. We're going to talk about what Ford is going to be doing for scheduling in July for September build date. So they'll usually schedule 2 months in advance on most models. Allocations, that is where Ford gives dealers allocations to schedule their orders. A dealer needs an allocation to schedule an order in the order bank. Probably one of the biggest questions I have by people right now is, I have my order in, so does that mean the dealer has an allocation? No, the dealer earns them by their sales volume of each model within their region. So they need that allocation. So when you place that order, you got to hope a dealership has an allocation that they can help fulfill that order quickly. Constraints, that are options that are in short supply or may take longer to build. And a capacity is the planned production rate of a given motor, trim, or option. We'll talk a little bit about that today. And then job 1 and 2, that's production will be split into 2 job runs, 1 and 2. 1 is the first half of the production year. 2 is the second half. If they need to make any changes, they'll make it before job 2. So they'll kind of stop job 1 and make those new features available for job 2. Balance out, that's the end of production or the balance out of what they can produce for a particular model option. Like Edge is balanced out. They balanced out 24 model year Escape, and they're moving to 25, that kind of thing. All right, so there's that information. So again, since they're not scheduling any of the plants, they also don't have how many unscheduled retail orders are in the order bank either. So I don't have that report because they're not planning the schedule. So not really much to go through because none of the plants are scheduling. So there's not really any notes on any of the models except for what the order banks look like and whether or not they're open or closed, which I will get to now. So let's talk about which models are open for the order banks. So basically meaning what models can I order a vehicle or custom order a vehicle for. So 24 model year Mustang order banks are still open. Dark Horse is closed, but all the others are open currently. 25 model year Escape is open. 24 has been balanced out. Also 25 model year Escape plug-in hybrid is also open. 25 model year plug-in Escape. Sorry. 24 model year Bronco Sport order banks are open for every trim level, including Heritage and your freewheeling. 24 model year Edge is done. It's closed out. It's balanced out. They're not making any more. 24 model year Mustang Mach-E order banks are open for all trim levels, including GT and the Rally. 24 model year Bronco order banks are open up for about all trim levels. They are closed for the Heritage 4-doors, but open for Heritage 2-doors. And the Heritage Limited Edition order banks are closed for 2-door and 4-door for retail. If a dealer gets an allocation for a Heritage Edition, then it has to be put in as a stock order for them. And then Everglades order banks are closed as well. And then all the others are open. 25 model year Ford Explorer order banks are open up. 24 model year Expedition are open up. 24 model year Maverick order banks are open up. They have not closed yet. 24 model year Ranger order banks are open up. 24 model year F-150 order banks are open up for about all trim levels with the exception of the Heritage Edition. Heritage Edition or Heritage Appearance Package is closed as of March 22nd. 24 model year Super D order banks are open, and the 24 model year Transit order banks are also open. So those, a lot of them still open, and you could schedule. And so, after COVID and such, we did see in a lot where order banks were closing early because of production levels, but with them all up and running full speed, then there's not really any issues. A lot of times the order banks will close and then they'll start the order banks for the next model year shortly after that. That's usually how that'll work. All right. Now let's talk about the wholesale overview for September production and what it looks like for each of the different models. Now let's start with the 24 model year Mach-E. They are going to be scheduling for 4 weeks of production in September. So the weeks of 9/2 through 9/23 looks like they plan to schedule for. And we're going to go through what our allocations are as a dealer. So we will have 2 Mach-E allocations, and I don't think we have any retail orders. So if you're wanting to get a Mach-E scheduled for production, we could help you out with that. And we're doing pretty good. I think we're way off. We're off, I think, a couple grand on an ordered unit for a Mach-E, or you can get $5,000 off on one on our lot right now. So, and then 25 model year Escape. This will be the startup for scheduling for the 25 model year. So they are going to be scheduling for 2 weeks of production because they will switch over from 24 to 25 halfway through the month of September. So the weeks of September 16th through the weeks of in the week of September 23rd, they will be scheduling for 25 model year Escape and plug-in. We have 1 Escape allocation, 0 plug-in allocations. And let's see, it does say hybrid production is limited because of low supply of batteries. So there you go. 24 model year Bronco. They will be scheduled for 4 weeks of production in September, the weeks of 9/2 through the weeks of 9/23. We have 20 allocations. So little known fact on the Bronco, we're going to talk about it actually in the dealer news update for those that are watching just the scheduling information. That is 2 months worth of allocations. So they're giving us that because they're going to go ahead and they want to finish out the old system for the Bronco for allocations and go to a turn and earn in a couple months, but they want to go ahead and schedule that. So you probably won't see a lot of allocations next month. So if you're wanting to get that Bronco order in and special order it, I'd get that in now and use those allocations for this month. Again, that's most dealers are going to be seeing 2 months of allocations. They say this is the launch of all the new painted roof improvements on the hardtop production rate. So for those that are wanting that painted hardtop, whether it be the black one or on the Raptor, they body colored or the black, they're going to be able to schedule more of those painted roofs coming up for September production, which is happening in July. 24 model year Bronco Sport. We have 6 allocations for that one. They are scheduled for 4 weeks of production, the weeks of 9/2 through 9/23. More freewheeling orders are needed. So they don't have a lot of people getting freewheeling. Dealers aren't ordering for stock. So they need some of those orders. So if you want one of those, you can probably get scheduled pretty fast if you like that. 25 model year Explorer. We have 5 allocations for September production. They are scheduled for 5 weeks. It says 5 weeks in here, but yet the dates are only 4. I don't know. I think they're only going to be scheduled for 4 weeks, but we'll see. It does show production weeks 9/2 to 9/23. ST line ordering rate has improved, it says, and formerly that was the XLT Sport Appearance Package. So you're wanting that sporty look. That'll help. That'll be improved this month. 24 model year Expedition. We got 11 allocations for Expedition, which is pretty good. 4 weeks of production for that. The weeks of 9/22 through the week of 9/23. 24 model year Maverick. 115 allocations we have. So we are taking orders for 24 model year Maverick. Yes. So we can almost guarantee an October delivery date for a 24 Maverick through our dealership. We only have 17 retail orders in the order bank. So we have about 98 available orders that we could take and get scheduled in the month of July for September build dates. They are scheduled for 4 weeks of production, 9/2 through the weeks of 9/23. Does say increased capacity of the spray and bed liner. I still, if I were you, stay away from the optional option, but it should be okay for any of those luxury packages for the Lariat. It'd be really nice if on the XLT Lux package they could allow for a spray and bed liner upgrade option. Just saying, throw that out there for it. They won't. They'll never make a change in the middle of a job too. All right. Next is the 24 model year Ranger. We do not have any allocations for the Ranger. They are scheduling for 4 weeks of production, the weeks of 9/2 through 9/23. Next, 24 model year F-150. We have 59 allocations for that as well. They are scheduling for September, and it says October build dates. So the 6 weeks of scheduling, 9/2 through 10/7. Now, whenever I see that, that probably means they might be closing the order banks shortly for the F-150. That is a possibility. So we could be seeing order banks opening up as early as the beginning of October, maybe, August. So we'll have to see about that. It does say heads-up display is restricted and standard on most high series. If you want a high series, order 401A, 501A, or 701A, because those do not come with a heads-up display. And then 24 model year Super Duty. We have 31 allocations for that. Pretty healthy. 4 weeks of scheduling for that as well. 9/2 through the week of 9/23. They are still needing more 6.8 liter orders needed to allow for stable, higher production. And then lastly, 24 model year Transit. We have 1 allocation for that. Typical for us. They're scheduled for 4 weeks of production, the weeks of 9/2 through 9/23. So there's all the standard production, but let's get into some of the specialty stuff. 24 model year Mustang Dark Horse. They are not planning to schedule for September at all. Looks like October balance out wholesale. They may have some the next month. So they are getting close to balancing out on the Dark Horse, but are not scheduling this month. And they could schedule the last couple that they need to fulfill for dealers in the month of for October build dates. And then 24 model year Ranger Raptor. They are going to be scheduled 4 weeks of production, the week of 9/2 through 9/23. F-150 Raptor. They are scheduled for 4 weeks of production as well, same weeks, 9/2 to 9/23. 70% will be 801A, and 30% will be 802A. And Raptor R, they are also scheduled for 4 weeks of production. They actually give you separate allocations for Raptor and Raptor R, just so in case you're wondering. They are scheduled for 4 weeks of production, 9/2 to 9/20, the week of 9/23. Bronco Raptor also scheduled for 4 weeks, the week of 9/2 to the week of 9/23. And then 24 model year Bronco Heritage Limited Edition. May wholesale was the last wholesale for Bronco Heritage Limited, so it's done. So those Peak Blues, there aren't going to be a lot of them out there. Doesn't sound like. So there you go. And I might need my glasses for this part. There's the national commodity constraint list. I thought I might go through a few of those, but like I said, it's really small. So let me get my glasses on. For the Bronco, the hardtop roof, they are going to build those at a 90% available capacity. That is very high. That means only 10% will be cloth top that they're going to build. So that's really shifted over the last year. The modular painted hardtop, the shadow black one, 20% is a take rate on that. So if you're wanting to get that, just know it might take longer to get it scheduled if you're looking for that, because the production rate capacity is only 20%. So that means 20% of all the Broncos built will have the 4-door painted hardtop. Also, Big Bend, Black Diamond, and Outer Banks are going to be 15% each for those. Or I don't know. I'm not sure how to read that. It might be 50% for all of them. I'm not sure. 2.7 liter EcoBoost engine is 43% production. So that's still pretty good number, but that means 57% of them will be, not necessarily, because the Raptor is going to account for 4%. So yeah, that would be about 53% will be your 2.3 liter. Wild Track, 19% capacity. Sasquatch package, 51%. Does say Black Diamond in here separate at 7%. Everglades, 0%. They're done with Everglades. We'll talk more about that in the is it true? 7-speed manual transmission, 1%. Very low. Heritage Limited Edition 2-door, 1%. the 4-door 0%, and Heritage Edition. Oh, wait. 4-door Heritage Limited 4-door is 1%. And then the 4-door Heritage Edition also 0%. They don't mention the 2-door Heritage Edition in here. And then the 2.7 with the Outer Banks, not even listed because they stopped making those, producing those. Now for the Escape, 45% of them will be built as active, and 39% will be built as ST line. So those will be the two main ones they're going to be scheduling for this month. And Explorer ST line street package is going to be at a 15% capacity. Expedition Platinum without the optional 22-inch wheel, 0%. So if you're wanting a Platinum, you better add the optional 22-inch wheel. You will not get scheduled. F-150 Super Crew 2-wheel drive, 80%. That's a pretty high number. And then regular cab 2-wheel drive, 22%. So there's other percentages in there, but that I think they're probably comparing the between 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive Super Crews is about an 80-20 there. And then 4x4 standard, 78%. So there you go on that. 3.5 Power Boost, 25%. 2.7 liter EcoBoost, 25%. 3.5 EcoBoost, 35%. And the 5.0 only 15% on that. Tonneau cover box cover, 3%. Keep those off your orders. The 21-inch silver 6-spoke dark alloy wheel is 18%. The XLT Black Appearance Package, 9%. The Black Appearance Package Plus is only 2%. Lariat Black Appearance Package is 7%. STX Black Appearance Package is 6%. Heads-up display is saying 12% in here, but that's pretty low. And then the Raptor 37 is 30%, and the Raptor is 70%. Maverick 2.5 Hybrid is at a 50-50. So between Hybrid and EcoBoost is a 50-50 on that. The XL is at 22%. So that went back down to 22% this month. XLT is at 48%, and Lariat is at 30%. And then Super Crew front-wheel drive on the XL, XLT, and Lariat is 55%. And then, so about 45% will be built all-wheel drives. Keep that in mind. So most of your EcoBoost will be all-wheel drive, looks like. And then the tire, I think that standard tire is at 54%. So they need, if you're wanting to order, you might want to think about, adding some other package to get a different tire or a different wheel. So Mustang Night Pony package with the plus the black painted roof, 0%. So Night Pony package, yeah. So that's going to be difficult. GT Performance package is also 0%. So they're not going to schedule any of those this month. And then Super Duty XL is 30 to 33%, XLT 13 to 60%, Lariat 28 to 33%, King Ranch 5 to 7%, Platinum 6 to 8%, Limited 2 to 3%, 6.8 liter gas motor 18 to 21%. The standard 6.7 liter Power Stroke engine is 34 to 37%. The high output has really increased, is 25 to 28%. I remember that when that was like 10%. So that has really increased production. 7.3 liter gas engine is 18 to 22%. F450 is 2 to 3%. So very low production on that. It continues to be low. The chassis cabs is 8 to 11%. And then heavy duty alternator that's standard on the 6.8 XL, 1%. Tonneau cover box, it's 1%. Just leave that off. Fifth wheel gooseneck hitch prep package is 28 to 30%. XLT sport appearance package is 4 to 6%. And tough bed spray and liner is 28 to 32%. So gonna leave that on. It's pretty high. And the trimmer off-road package, it's 8 to 11%. And then mach-e extended range battery, 75% of the production will be extended range battery. So feel free to order those. You should be good. GT version is 15%. That's the Select with the comfort package is 11% capacity on that. So I don't think I need to go in. I mean, they actually have the breakdown of each one of those, but I mean, for the most part, you should be good. I'd go extended range on any of your mach-es and go that route. On the Transit Trail is 0%. So they won't plan to build any of those And then otherwise, it looks like the Transit 150 is about 30-40% capacity, which is the most of them. And then the 350 heavy duty dualies is 18 to 22%, and the passenger van is 18 to 20% on that. So there you go. So that's all the schedule information. Again, a little bit different content this week because they're not scheduling at the plants, but that is some of the information for next month, which is September production, and will be scheduled with the allocations from this month here coming up in July, which should start the week of the 15th. So next week, they will not be scheduling with this month's allocations for September build dates. They'll still be continuing with those August build dates. You'll see the scheduling start for July's allocations of dealers on the week of the 15th. So that's what you have to look forward to there. So if you're watching this on the recorded video on Wednesday, go ahead and drop those comments down in the comments. We'll try to reply to those as quick as we can. If you're watching with us live, let's head on over to Sarah. There we go. How are we looking there in comments?
One question.
We've
been talking, or they've been talking about lobster.
Oh, yes.
So Tim says, I ordered a 2024 F-150 screw 6.5 box with the 502A on April 24th and haven't heard anything. My dealer just tells me that my order wasn't selected. On Thursday, all I get from Ford is an order number.
I have heard some issues with something. I mean, I've heard theories and some things about it. I mean, on your 502A, we've gotten Lariat 502A. In fact, that's our highest sold vehicles have been Lariat trim, actually, for us. And a lot of ours, though, have been 501A, not 502A. I will say that. So most of what we're getting in are 501A Lariats, not 502A. So there could be an issue there with the 502A and something that's on the 502A that's stopping and making it difficult for those to get scheduled, whereas the 501A is more readily being able to be scheduled. So that might be something. I don't know what it could be in there, but there's probably something with that 502A that's causing a holdup. And actually, heads-up display. So we just talked about that earlier, right? Mm-hmm. Ford had said that if you want to get it scheduled, choose the 502A, right? In my notes. Let's look at that real quick. So the note on F-150 is heads-up display is restricted and standard on most high series. If you want a high series order, go 401A, 501A, or 701A. So it must be the heads-up display. It'd be my recommendation. So if you want that heads-up display, then that could cause it. What they really need to do is do like they do on some of the ones where they do a removal option. They need to add a heads-up display removal option because that may not be a deal breaker for most people, but maybe they want the other stuff. So they need to do that like they do sometimes with the navigation removal or, the rear climate removal. They probably should do that. And if they keep having issues, they probably will come out with that if they have to. There you go.
All right.
That's all I got to say about that.
That's all I had.
Anything? Yeah. So you did hear it right. 115 Maverick allocations that we're getting. Because what they look at is, I actually have the formula here. Well, not the formula, but I have the breakdown of how they decided to give us 115 allocations. I don't need the glasses for this. This is small too. So basically, they look at what you've been selling in the last year. So it's a 12-month revolving. So according to this on Maverick, we've been selling quite a few. For the last 12 months, average is 45 Mavericks that we've sold. The last 6-month average is 50 Mavericks a month. And so when they look at that number and they see that according to this, we have 4 in stock. Technically, that just means they haven't been completely booked. And a couple of those are because of recalls. And then in the system, it says we have 3. That means we have 3 that are scheduled for production dates, but they have not arrived. So according to them, we have 7 available before wholesale. So because of that, they say that we have a net of a negative 239. So that's why they give us 115. So we'll probably get another big number like this next month as well to make up for it. So especially since we have 0 in inventory, we'll probably see a big number like this almost every month. So, yeah, we're excited because, like I said, we were the number one Maverick dealer, and it's like kind of hard to stay up with that when you're not getting any allocations. I mean, we had 4 months of zero allocations, or actually 1 month we had three. But otherwise, I mean, they're making it up for it now because they're like, okay, they're selling them and they're moving them, they're turning them, they're not stuck on a lot. It'd be different if we had they've been giving us Mavericks and the customers didn't take them and they're sitting in our lot. We're trying to get 5-10 grand for them over, like some dealers are, and they're sitting on our lot, but we're not. We're turning them, and so because of that, it's why it's called the turn and earn. We're turning them, we're selling them, so that means we're earning more allocations. Mm-hmm. So I'm really surprised is our F-150 number when we have over 100 F-150s in stock and we still earned 59 F-150 allocations. That shocked me a little bit. And even Super Duty at 31, when we have so many Super Duties on our lot, that surprised me too. But yeah, there you go. We're scheduled to get 250 Fords scheduled for September build dates. That is going to be tough to turn and earn more after that because look for a December to remember right here.
Yep.
Because those are going to be September, show up in October, possibly November. Look for some big sales deals. But we are looking for orders. So we are going to Maverick Monday video next week. We will be talking about that.
Brian Foster.
He wants one?
For his dad.
Actually, I'm going to put this out there. I mean, I will usually say, you got to look, and sometimes there's some exceptions and everything. But if you listen to the rules that apply when it comes to Maverick, stay away from those bed accessories and stuff like that. I can almost guarantee you, if you order a Maverick with us in the next 2 weeks, that it'll get scheduled for production date, probably that first week or that week of the 15th for a date in September. Should show up in about October by November 1st. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can guarantee that. Well, with only 17 retail orders in our order bank, we're going to have to put a lot of stock orders in there. And I don't want to put stock orders in. We want to do retail orders. So if you want to order a vehicle, you want a Maverick, I can almost guarantee a delivery by the end of October for you. Yeah. That's about the fastest turnaround that we've had on the Maverick so far. Mm-hmm. The 17 people have unscheduled orders right now that have been waiting. They've been waiting since like January because we opened it back up because we had all those allocations. And so we opened it back up.
Before that.
Oh, we had all of ours taken care of. They had the carryovers. And then we opened it back up when we saw we had them taken care of. Then we actually put it out to the sales guys that they could take orders. So most of those 17 are local customers. But there you go. So still same deal on the that we do on all of our Maverick on all of our YouTube specials. So $1,000 if you finance with us of the shipping and such. Still going to do that same offer. $495 dealer fee. We will do all price protection and everything. We are not going to mark your vehicle up on you, MSRP, all that. And we'll find out by next Monday. Maybe I'll have a special Maverick Monday deal. Mm-hmm. We'll see. But there's not a lot of markup on the Maverick anyway. What's hilarious at $500-$600 markup? That's the most. I know XL's $300 or $400. So it's not like I can do much there. I can't go and probably can't do invoice pricing on Mavericks because there's not a lot of. But
Diabetic, we can get it to Hawaii for you.
Yes, we can do some drop ships. Or you can figure out what shipping would cost as well. So we do struggle with. I struggle with doing drop ships for the fact that we've had some end up in Hawaii and the customers didn't take them, and then we didn't get the sale, the Hawaii dealer, because then we're not at that point. We're not going to ship it here and then try to mark it up $5,000 over for a customer. So we just dealer trade it to the Hawaii dealer, which even that dealer wanted our holdback. We're like, no. For one. Starting in July, holdback's gone. There's no such thing as a holdback anymore. They're going to start doing things differently. It used to be basically what holdback was. It was enough money to pay for interest for 3 months, and then it started costing the dealership money. Now they're saying that's from day one. You're going to get charged. So you have till like the end of the month, and then
I feel like that's to incentivize dealers from marking up, and
they want dealers to stop having them in the inventory, so they're not giving them really any time to sell them. They got to just move them, boom, boom. So you hopefully once the dealers catch on to that and are actually paying attention to that for the people that do their accounting, then they'll start moving them they'll start more aggressively pricing their vehicles to move. So
Yeah. Dad, but we actually have done several ships to Hawaii or drop ships to Hawaii. So
Mhm.
we are pretty experienced with it. If you would like to consider that,
Yeah.
if not, we understand. Um,
Yeah.
Hello, do retail orders versus stock orders have priority when it comes to vehicle delivery? Yes, when they're going through the order banks, they're going to be looking at the retail orders first, and then they'll look at stock.
For scheduling, we should clarify.
Yeah.
You said delivery. So when it comes to delivery,
Well,
all Mavericks are going to be shipped out. They won't care if it's got a blue or a green window sticker.
right,
But when it comes to scheduling, they will look at retail orders first.
yes, but some people see delivery as the same term as scheduling when it comes to getting
I
the
like to
vehicle
clarify the difference.
I know.
Don't put any words in my mouth. But yeah, scheduling for production dates, retails will be looked at first. So like I said, it's just like golf. The lower the better. And the retail order, the priority codes are 0 to 19. Stock is 20 to 80. So we'll have to put stock orders in there. And that's the other kicker is that, to be honest, if we don't have, I mean, they're going to, the first week, that week of the 15th, they're going to schedule retails only.
Yes.
But that week in the 22nd, if we don't have enough retail orders in there, guess what's going to get scheduled? We're going to have a whole bunch of stock ones get scheduled. So that's why we're kind of wanting to really push. We have this week, next week, the week after to get retail orders in there. And they're going to start, if we do have retail orders the week of the 22nd that come in after they schedule on the 18th, they will still look at the retail first. But if you want to guarantee, then have it in there for us by the 17th, 16th, I would say, you have to get the best option there. So there are going to be a lot of dealers that won't get allocations of the new system based on their Maverick sales. And so, they won't, you put an order in with them, it doesn't mean they're going to get it, because again, they have to have an allocation to get scheduled tonight. We got them. We got the allocations. We got you covered here. So there you go.
Is the Maverick the highest selling vehicle for Ford?
No.
I believe
F-150. Highest selling vehicle of any manufacturer, any vehicle. But Maverick is important to Ford. We're gonna get to what's on my mind later and why Ford is wanting to sell electric vehicles and electrified vehicles, and how the Maverick really plays into that for Ford. We'll talk about that during that. And hopefully people didn't see, I know somebody commented earlier, didn't see the title and think, oh, Tim's got a mach-e now, he's going to talk about mach-e every week. No, we're going to talk about how hybrid and plug-in hybrids are also part of the electrified scope of things. And they want to give everybody an option, right? I don't want an EV. I don't want a hybrid. Ford's going to provide everything. And that's different than, you look at Tesla, they can't provide you a gas or a hybrid or a plug-in hybrid version of theirs, right? Ford can. So they have the whole spectrum. So they're really big into building vehicles for your choice. So the customer choice, in a sense, of what they want, and providing options. But we'll get into more into that later. But anything else there?
All right. That's what I had.
All righty. Okay. Let's get into the dealer news updates then. Scroll down here. Where are they? All right. Dealer news update right here. All right. We're going to just a couple things, a couple price increases to talk about right now. So they're effective. Start from the first one that came up. Effective July 1st, which was yesterday, the Bronco had several price increases for different things. So let's go through those. This is price level PL 440. Before we get into these, don't forget, if you have a Bronco order before this price increase on July 1st, your dealership should be price protecting you. And I say should because it really is up to whether or not they want to. Because Ford will not get involved in this. They will not say, well, that's really between because of the agreement that Ford has with their dealers, the dealer can do whatever in the heck they want, but Ford is going to reimburse the dealerships, I should say, for any price increases. So as long as the person that ordered the vehicle buys the vehicle, they should not see these price increases It's called price protection. Yeah. So, but again, I've fought this. I've had a lot of customers that dealers wouldn't give them the price protection. So, all right. So here's the price increases for the Bronco. The heavy duty modular front bumper has gone up $50. The auxiliary switch option, $100 increase. The trailer tow option went up $250. So I think what's that? Is that like 750 or 800 now? Somewhere around there. The black roof rails with the crossbar option went up $100. The tube step option went up $100. The removable hoop step option went up $100. The door storage bags went up $50. The front row top panel indoor storage bag combo went up $50. The Raptor Code Orange appearance package went up $500. And then the Raptor side and hood graphic option went up $200. So there you go. That's those. Bronco Sport also had price increases effective the same day. This is price level PL 435. And the Heritage Convenience Package went up $140. The Copilot 360 Assist Plus package, which is available on every trim level, Ford, went up $100. The Copilot 360 Assist Plus discount $100. So on the 200 and 220A. So I believe the 200A is Big Ben, and 220 I believe is it's not Heritage. It's the freewheeling. So freewheeling and the Big Ben will get that discount of 100. So the price will go up for that, but then you'll get a discount back. So basically the Heritage Edition are going to get the $100 increase. I don't know why they just didn't do it that way, but that's all right. Increase of the trailer tow package by $110. Increase of the Falcon Wild Peak tire, which is optional on the Badlands and the Black Diamond package, maybe. That went up $150. And then the underbody protection option, the standalone option, went up $100. So there's those. All right, that's not the only vehicles I got a price increase. Also coming through that we got an information on that's also effective 7/1 on the Super Duty. The increase on the 6.7 liter Power Stroke diesel engine went up $500, and the high output diesel engine option went up $500 as well. So, yay! The Transit. Oh, and that is price level PL 430, and for the Transit, they have some increases. It's price level 440, and it is the cargo van rear wheel drive went up $275. It says the increase incomplete vehicle price $475. So those would be the chassis, I believe. And then the increased passenger van price went up $1,200. So there's that. So price increases. You gotta hate them. All right. This next one has to do with the change. So they did open it up. We talked about this. Was it last week or the week before? I think. The week before, about how they now opened up electrified vehicles or EV sales to all dealers. You didn't have to sign up for the program like the other dealers did, but they're kind of educating now those dealers that weren't part of that on how they're going to get these vehicles, these EVs. So basically in this memo here is a summary. It says the 24 model year Mustang Mach-E is accessible through the standard wholesale process. So order it, order the stocks, the retails, you put it in the webdo, and you get scheduled, you get allocations. Like we got 2 allocations this month, and that's how you're going to get them. Now on the F-150 Lightning, that's accessible through their RRC. That is the Retail Replenishment Centers. So you don't order them. You don't get allocations for Lightning. You don't get a custom order. You basically go in and you find out what's at a replenishment center, and you get access to those. But also allows a dealer to be replenished their lot a lot faster. Instead of ordering one and waiting a couple months for it to show up, you can have one of those vehicles available at the RRC at your dealership within 2 weeks. And I can say that is true because we have 4 in stock right now that we received, actually 3, we received through a replenishment center. So it's really quick. So you get those, you go into the system and you can see those vehicles and you can get them right out of the inventory from the replenishment center. And there is dealers are going to have to figure it out. There are some resources for them to find out where to go, but dealers can go to a portal to see those vehicles are available. So, and that is a new program they're trying with the Lightning. I see that coming over to about the mach-e as well. I just see that that's going to be something in the future. So, all right. Okay. Next is the 24 model year Maverick Turn and Earn. So they're letting dealers know that system is starting and is going in effect this month. And with that came the information I mentioned on the Maverick Monday video about the Lariat order banks, about Lariat being the quickest turn in the recommended order. And that's because they don't have any orders for Lariat, because people aren't ordering the Lariat for the most part. And so they need those orders. So they kind of went through that. Watch that video if you want to learn more about it. But they also in that announced when the order bank will open up. Doesn't mention the order guides being available before the order bank opens up. And it should be early August. Very early. That's all I can say. And there will be a reveal. 25 model year reveal, it says. So it sounds like that media will be able to see this vehicle and maybe do some media drop on that day as well. That could be fun. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That could be fun. Anyway, all right. 24 model year Bronco Turn and Earn also is coming soon. So they are going to be switching from the 24 model year BTG. So that's how they were allocated, and allocations were done before. That's going to go to complete Turn and Earn. Does says scheduling for this wholesale will begin in September, but will vary depending on amount of BTG committed by the dealers nationally. So they will switch over to Turn and Earn after that. Does it say? Okay, it does say Bronco is moving to Turn and Earn beginning as early as the August wholesale. So next month's wholesale will be going to that route as well. So that's all right. And then that's about it, really. I do have they talked about Escape series strategy that their planned production on Escape is that 67% of them will be active in ST line, and 33% will be their premium series, which is your plug-in hybrid, platinum, ST line elite, and ST line select. So if you're wanting one, it's going to be a lot easier for you to get an ST line and active, which is the first ones it looks like they're scheduling for. So there you go. And then Mustang Mach-E leases are still awesome right now. They're running through 7-8 right now. So if you haven't, you can get your hands on one of those. We have plenty. There's like $7,500 red carpet lease cash on all the trim levels. And then there's also incredible lease rates. So they had some examples in here that if you put $3,000 down for 36 months, you could lease a 23 Mustang Mach-E select standard range for $318. Or a 24 select standard range for $347. And then premium for 403, premium extended range. Premium extended range, all-wheel drive for 403, and of 24, premium extended range, all-wheel drive for 428. But they mentioned with 3,000 down. So GT for 450 or 498, or even less. Really, I mean, that's, yeah. If you go with our discounts, even less. All right, couple order guide updates. At the beginning of every month, sometimes they'll update some order guides, and they did update 2 order guides: the Bronco Sport and the Bronco. So, and I did look through them very closely, and I didn't find. It looks like what I think are the changes they made to the Bronco Sport. They did update the freewheeling. It looks like to me they've added an option for the 17-inch matte black painted wheel. So if you didn't know, the Bronco Sport freewheeling comes with the black wheel with the red pockets. So now it looks like they're going to give you the availability of the black appearance package wheel as well. So if you don't like the red painted pockets, then you can go with that option. So also they added the interior bike rack option as a dealer installed option to the freewheeling. So that's all I found on that. On the Bronco, they deleted the fender flare kit base style steel DIO on the Heritage Limited series. That's not a big deal. And then they also, it looks like the only thing they changed on the optional equipment on about every model, they updated that new option was that they added the hardtop carbonized gray molded in color without the headliner. They added the word without headliner to all those to clarify so people knew that was the right option to go without the headliner if they wanted it. And then they updated also the standard on the Everglades to without the headliner as well. So the Everglades won't have that headliner option on it as standard equipment after that job too. So there's that.
All right.
There you go. And probably any questions on that? Probably not.
Onward.
Let me get my mach-e. All right, on to recalls. So, all right. This first one is on the Maverick. It is safety recall 24S17, which we've talked about this. We gave you guys the advance notice information on this back in March. This is the official recall that is out now for this. 217 vehicles are affected by this. This is a Maverick fuel tank pinch leak. So only 217 vehicles, and that's pretty good. They make 17 a month. So only 217 total. It's not too bad. And these are ones that were built between January 19th of 24 through January 26th of 24. So just that week of production and 217 vehicles there. A reason for this recall is in all of the affected vehicles, the fuel tank may have been manufactured with an open fuel tank pinch joint, which can lead to a liquid or fuel vapor leak. Customers may notice fuel leaking onto the ground or smell fuel if a leak is present. Additionally, the evaporative emissions monitor may illuminate and malfunction light indicator light in the cluster. A leaking fuel tank increase the risk of fire, of course. Letters are going to go out the week of July 1st to people that are those 217 people to get the recall done. All right. This next one is safety recall 24S44 for 22 and 23 model year Mustangs. 30,631 vehicles are affected by this recall. And the reason for it, in all affected vehicles, the secondary digital torque sensor in the steering gear was calibrated with an inverted polarity. If the primary steering torque sensor experiences a failure or fault, the steering wheel may begin oscillating without warning, alternating clockwise, counterclockwise when attempting to steer due to electric power assist steering, providing unintended steering assist. And then, of course, it says owners of record will be notified via first class mail after repair instructions or parts ordering information have been provided. So this is an advance notice. It's not the official one yet because they don't have the repair yet. Everything all right?
Yep.
All right. Next is safety recall 24S42, 25 model year. Super Duty, the medium duty, the F650s and 750s. 2,718 vehicles are affected by this recall. Affected vehicles may be equipped with steering rod, tie rod ends that may fracture and result in front axle steering disconnection. Let's say before demonstrated, okay, here it says owner letters are expected to be mailed the week of August 12th. So that is the official notice on that, not an advance notice. There you go. All right. This one here is an advance notice on equipment recall 24S45 for 2018 to 23 model year Mustang, 2018 to 2020 F-150s, and 2018 to 2021 Expeditions. It says 7,400 vehicles are affected by this. Some of the affected vehicles were repaired with service replacement e-pass gear and may have the secondary digital torque sensor in the steering gear calibrated with an inverted polarity. If the primary steering torque sensor experiences a failure or fault, the inverted polarity of the secondary sensor may cause the steering wheel to begin oscillating without warning, alternating counterclockwise, clockwise. So the steering start doing weird things. So this sounds familiar because we just had that on the other vehicle. It does say that letters are going to go out via first class mail when the repair instructions are available for dealers. So again, that's an advance notice. All right, we got one more. So this is compliance recall 24C20 for 24 model year F-150 vehicles. 4,293 vehicles are affected by this. And for the reason of this, all affected vehicles may not conform to the requirements specified by Federal Motor Vehicle Standard windshield mounting due to the potential of the windshield was not properly bonded to the vehicle. That's a big deal, which could allow it to detach. A windshield that separates from the vehicle during a crash increases the risk of injury to an occupant. Does say on this one here that letters are going to go out the week of July 8th for that. So this is an official compliance recall there. So, and I didn't see one on the one they were talking about earlier. So I don't know which recall they were talking about. I could look it up though. We might have talked about it last
the
week.
Maverick one.
I know, but we talked about the Maverick one last week, so we might have covered that last week. Like I said, I usually go over the recalls that have occurred or that Ford sends out to dealers every week. So I go back to last week, and I only go from last week to this week. So these are the ones that came out this week.
Mm-hmm.
So, or since our last live stream. So anyway, might have to look that one up if we need to.
What's your opinion that Ford has the most recalls over any other brand for a while? I'm looking to get into Bronco, but afraid with quality concerns. So they've done a lot of refresh on their vehicles, changing engines, changing things, and how things are created. So with that, you're going to see, some fluctuation in the quality, but they're at least taking responsibility for those. They say, hey, these parts are faulty. You need the new parts. So in my opinion, the recalls mean that they are taking ownership of what's going on, and they want to make their vehicles as safe as possible for their customers. So, hey, here's a recall, get it done, so that way your vehicle's safe.
Yeah, what you'll see is Ford will issue something because they need to before that somebody makes them. And if you ever see one of those recalls where it comes out where it's like a ton of vehicles, like hundreds of thousands of vehicles, that means that the government probably or the Federal Motor Vehicles made them do it, right? So you see that happen to Toyota and GM and some of those because they maybe don't take care of it until it's a major problem. Whereas Ford starts getting some complaints about customers, they're like, okay, there's something wrong here. One of the things you'll notice and what they're trying to do is they're trying to do better at when they bring out a change to a vehicle, they're holding it. So like the 25 Explorers, they're not going to go out right away. They're actually going to hold them for 6 weeks and check those vehicles over and make sure and test them and make sure that there's not any issues so that they don't have as many recalls. So they want to eliminate those recalls. So you're going to see that happen on all these refreshes. We did see that with Escape and Super Duty. So one of the things you'll notice, we're not seeing a lot of recalls on Escape and Super Duties as much because of that. The new F-150, the Ranger as well. I don't think I've seen very many Ranger recalls. So maybe that is working. And if it takes an extra 6 weeks at the beginning of production for that, then so be it. If we don't have to take our vehicle into the dealer and have these recalls done or have them come to our house. Actually, most of the recalls can be done by mobile, which is kind of nice. But so just expect that for your Maverick and your Bronco Sport and your Broncos coming up this year, that when those do start production, you're probably going to be 6 weeks before it can actually getting shipped out. So,
yes.
But
because they'll be
hopefully
produced, but they'll hold them for their quality control segment. But
yeah, I've bought some Ford vehicles and I see the recalls, and some of them are some of them are what I call compliance recalls. It's the safety recalls that you got to be the most concerned about, because some of those compliance and the customer satisfaction ones, those are just to make happy customers. It's Ford wants to have happy customers, so they'll consider that a recall, but really it's something that they're providing to their customers with some issues they've been seeing out there from customer complaints. So I don't know. That's the way I look at it. I'm not concerned and wouldn't be concerned in getting a Ford vehicle because I see a lot of recalls. So
yeah, the fact that there's a lot of recalls is comforting because I know that Ford's going to take ownership for something going on.
Now, a lot of major safety recalls, and once they initiate a recall, they figured out the fix. So know when you see that recall that anything built after that isn't going to have that problem because they figured it out. And so all the vehicles from there on are getting built right. It's the ones that were built before that need to get the recall done on them. So, yeah.
Well, and Ford's doing a lot to catch them at the factory too. So you'll see if your vehicle it's produced and sitting there, not released, if it's sitting there for a while, that usually means that Ford caught something before it left their facility and was like, hey, this needs to be replaced, and then they wait for that part to come in. So you'll see that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So if your vehicle's produced but not moving, it usually means that they've caught something before it even gets to you.
Yeah.
All right. Onward.
Thanks, Johnny.
Pretending to be perfect or working to be the best possible. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see.
All right.
I'm checking through these. I didn't think I had any more that were for recall. No, I don't have any more that are recall oriented.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, you get to look, and I'm gonna do the. Is it true?
Yes.
All right. So I found something out there, and I'm not going to share where I found it, that the Everglades for the Bronco is done. It's August production will probably be the end of the Everglades production. So what does that mean for the future of that trim level? We don't know what 25 is going to look like yet, but we do know that they closed the order banks for the Everglades and got those in. I found somewhere where they said they are no longer going to be producing Everglades after August. So hopefully you got that Everglades. You liked it. We have some in stock if you want one. I think they're still. I think we still haven't priced. I think 3,500 or 3,000.
Yes.
We actually had to go up $2,000 on them. So they're like $3,000 off on an Everglades. Yeah. So that's going away. But I can tell you, Heritage Edition will probably be back next year, though. So there you go. So, and I have that found that as well, hidden somewhere in Ford's files. So it looks like we'll have the a Heritage Edition again next year, and that might be like a trim they're going to continue to do. But Everglades. Now I'm not really surprised on the Everglades, because when they came out with the Everglades wheel was going to be on the standard on the Sasquatch package. Now I said, well, okay, now we have that wheel. You can add the winch. We've talked about this before. You can add the winch as optional equipment that you get on that. You can add the snorkel. So I don't know if we'll see like, hey, an optional snorkel for certain trim levels next year, but it's basically a black diamond with the mid package with the standard Sasquatch with those wheels, which now is standard, right? So just add a black diamond mid package Sasquatch and you have an Everglades look. In a sense, everything else looks the same, and then add your roof rack, add your winch, and then you don't have a snorkel, or the graphics, but everything else is there. The grill's going to look a little different, but otherwise,
Do you think they'll add
you
a snorkel
got
option?
one. I don't know. I mean, maybe they're just going to let aftermarket do that. Like, all the aftermarket companies add a snorkel if they want. I mean, otherwise, and you can add, like you said, add a winch. I mean, because like I could go, if I'm looking at it, I do like the look of the Everglades mainly because of those wheels and all that. But add a rough country winch with the rough country one. It's cheaper. It'll save you a lot of money, because a worn one's expensive. It's like $2,500, $26. You can go rough country is a good quality. I got a 12.5 pound winch on my Bronco from, rough country. Is a worn one better? Maybe. I guess we'll see. They just dropped the price to $2,000. Oh, there you go. Now you're getting closer. Now I'd be tempted because I do like the look of the worn winch. I do like the actual the way the front bumper look. I do like the look of the worn one, the one for the Ford. I do like the look of that one a little more than what the rough country looks like. But I like my rough country because it has the LED light in there too. That is a kind of cool little option you can get on that.
Ragnar must be doing his weekly website walk.
Yep.
He goes through the website.
Hey, you could just watch the video I had go live today, and you'd get you basically get to see that. But anyway, yeah. So there's that on the Bronco. So, all right.
Onward.
onward and maybe upward, maybe downward. We'll see how this goes. Let me finish off my Moxie before I get into this. All right. So I wanted to talk this week. I was actually struggle. A lot of times I don't even know what I'm going to talk about this week until Monday. And Jeff's like, "What thumbnail do you want for the tomorrow's live stream?" I'm like, I don't know. I got to figure out what's going on, what's happening. But Ford, so I actually I don't have it in the show notes. Here, let me drop that in there real quick. So in the show notes for the people on the podcast, you'll see that links to an article that Jim Farley put on LinkedIn. Basically, it's titled "Confessions of a Lifelong Petrol Head." I love electric vehicles, and it has nothing to do with politics. So that's the title of it. And we're going to actually quote a couple of different lines in there. But, so yeah, that came out. And then also there was a video that Mike Buck actually sent me. So thank you, Mike, for sending that to me. There's a YouTube video of him on he was at some conference or something. And she was interviewing him. It's a little bit long of a video. I think it's like 40 minutes, and then there's 10 minutes of Q&A, which I didn't watch that part. But they basically referenced that article. So the article came out before he was interviewed. So let me drop those in the show notes. But so that's what we're going to kind of reference. So it's basically he's talking about the future of electrified. Actually, they are in there. They're already in there. Okay. So you can check those out after this video. Go over later. But he's basically talking about electrified vehicles and getting people that more and more people are getting electric EVs. But I want to actually expand on that a little bit differently and talk about electrified vehicles in general being hybrid and plug-in as well into that, because there are people that are not ready for a full EV.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of it. I enjoy driving the Mach-E and the Lightning and such, and I don't get the range anxiety and such. But there are some people that aren't, they're not ready for that. They want to be able to fuel up and keep going, right? And so, but they still want to get better fuel economy. Right. And so that's where the hybrid and the plug-in hybrid can come in for those people. But here's a couple of quotes that he had that I kind of wanted to reference here in this article that he has. He says, it wasn't government policies, and this is quoting Jim Farley, it wasn't government policies or political beliefs that sparked this late career romance with electric vehicles. It's because I drive one. My Ford F-150 Lightning Platinum. It is an astonishingly quiet and smooth. The effortless acceleration leaves you with a silly grin once you get the feeling back in your face. Every morning, mine is topped up with 300 miles of range. No gas stations ever. What's more, my F-150 Lightning has a massive lockable frunk to go along with the pickup bed. And the Lightning works like a mobile generator that can power a work site, campsite, tailgate, or even another electric vehicle, or power my home with extra cost. So that's kind of what he's quoted. He said, if you want to have a blast behind the wheel, take a Mustang Mach-E rally out on a dirt road, which I haven't done yet, but I'm looking forward to doing. But yes, they are fun to drive. And that I've told people that with me. I said, I feel like there's three types of people that get an electric vehicle. One, that they want to be better for the environment. So they want to drive that because there's no emissions and that kind of thing. And I don't quite agree with that, because usually what powers your electric vehicle is made from coal. So I'm not in that category. Or diesel. And the other is the lower maintenance cost. So you don't have to worry about the oil changes and everything else. There's less moving parts. Should last longer. The battery warranty is 8 year, 100,000 miles. So there's a little bit more of that. And I kind of like that. But the other third is that how fun they are to drive and how smooth they are, how quiet they are, and everything else. That's where I'm at, is vehicle to vehicle, which you enjoy driving more. And really that's what it's about is some people they don't have a choice because they have a certain budget and they can't afford maybe an EV, or they can't afford that type of vehicle. But those that are in that where they're making those EVs cheaper, are they more fun to drive? And right now Ford is putting out incredible leases on the Mach-E's,
Mhm.
and maybe eventually the Lightning as well. But you can make that a daily driver. Now for us, it is in our household. Again, we have two vehicle. We have, or actually we
Yes.
have three, but we have an Expedition for out of town. That is the one we take out of town. That's the one we can load all the stuff in for vacation. That's the one that we can put 2-3 kids in the back, in the second, third row seat, and we can drive down the highway, in the Expedition and take those long trips and not worry about, having to stop and charge for 30 minutes, right?
Yeah.
But then we have that EV, like for me, where I'm not using any gas whatsoever,
Mhm.
driving it, and even can drive it to the Kansas City and make those shorter long trips. Wouldn't be shorter long trips, medium trips. How about that? Where I might need to charge when I get there, but then just come back,
Mhm.
right? That's where I'm at. But I do see, and I think a lot of people aren't seeing is that why do we need to? Why is Ford trying to sell electric vehicles and such like that? But it's because of that cafe. There's a miles per gallon that they have to get under, average miles per gallon of their vehicles. And if you want to have fun vehicles like Ford Bronco, a Ford Mustang, and some of those vehicles, you're going to have something that gets you good high gas mileage. And that's where we're talking about earlier with the Maverick. The Maverick is very important to Ford, especially the Maverick Hybrid. When you get 42 miles per gallon in a Maverick Hybrid, that helps Ford really achieve that, especially if they can get more people into Mach-E's and Lightnings, then that's going to help them be able to make the Broncos and such. But also, like you saw in the thumbnail, if you guys watch that, if you did look at that, we're going to see hybrids come around. They said we will have more hybrid vehicles launch in every model. I don't know if that means when they're ready for their new redesign. So that's why you saw the three vehicles on there were ones that are getting redesigned: Bronco Sport, Bronco, as well as the Expedition. Question is, will they receive a hybrid this year, or will they receive a plug-in hybrid? That's going to be the question. I hope to see. Here's what I think is going to happen is if we see a Maverick all-wheel drive hybrid, then I firmly believe we'll see a Bronco Sport hybrid.
Yeah.
Because there's no reason why they can't do both. Made in the same plant, and they can't do both. Now, a lot of people ask, why have we not seen a Bronco Sport hybrid yet? Made in the same plant. They need to use the same engines. If they make a Bronco Sport hybrid, they make one less Maverick hybrid. What do they have more orders of? They have more Maverick hybrids than Bronco Sport. But would that change? So if you had, that's the question for you. If you had a Bronco Sport that was hybrid available, would you have one? Would you order one of those, or would you order a Maverick? We should put that in.
Personally, do you want me to put that up?
We should put that in there. Put that in as a poll. Okay. If a hybrid was available in the Bronco Sport, would you be more likely to get a Bronco Sport if the prices were the same? Okay, let's keep that. And that might be a problem. They had a hybrid and it's $1,500 more. Now we're up to 35. Then now you're to Lariat. What? I won't get into that. That's a whole other discussion there. But all things equal, right? If price was the same, maybe you could get a Big Ben would be equal to an XLT. Let's say you could get a Big Ben 4-wheel drive Bronco Sport with a hybrid for the same price as a hybrid XLT Maverick all-wheel drive. Which would you get? That is the question. Knowing that the Bronco Sport is made for off-road capabilities, I still think I know the answer. Probably going to be Maverick, but she's going to drop that down there so you guys hopefully get that, respond to that. But I don't know. Well, I think we'll see. I think we're going to see a hybrid all-wheel drive Maverick come, which hopefully we'll see that in the Bronco Sport as well. Oh, there you go. There's Ragnarcon said about a Bronco Sport hybrid over an Escape because they are both SUVs. There you go. And maybe that's a better question. We'll start with this one first. We'll see the answer, and then we'll go. Well, that's a good one, Ragnarcon. So that might be more comparable side-by-side comparison. But and then question is going to be too, will we see a hybrid Expedition, which I'm really hoping for. If we do, if 25 model year brings a hybrid Expedition, depending on what that swing gate looks like for the Expedition, we might be upgrading our Expedition to a hybrid. I think I heard in the number of close to 800 miles on a tank of gas in an Expedition hybrid. That could be interesting. There's the poll. Ooh, Bronco Sport 1, 100% done. Oh, it's still 56, 60, 55. Oh, that's not quite what I expected. Maverick people haven't voted yet. Oh, now it's just swayed over. It's funny because I can see this graph and it's whatever is the top and it shows a percentage. So anyway, and then of course Bronco, talking about Bronco. So will we see a hybrid? Now I think if they want to compare to Jeep, they're gonna have to come up with a plug-in hybrid version. Yeah. And some people asked, they don't understand why you would put a hybrid in a Bronco. And I kind of, included in. I talked to a couple of people about this. I said, well, think about this. I said, if you're going off-road, and there are some people that are off-roaders that are really about the environment and treading lightly and taking care of the great outdoors, right? And how beautiful it is and not hurting the environment. Well, what hurts the environment is emissions, right? So when you think about it, you can go drive that Bronco plug-in hybrid in hybrid format all the way to the trail, kick it over to plug-in hybrid, and now you're going completely green on the trail and going in a full EV mode there. And a lot of people don't realize, but when you're in EV mode, you're actually, I think it'll perform really well on the trail. A lot of people don't think that, but you'd be really surprised because you don't need a lot of horsepower when you're on the trail. If you're going over, you're rock climbing and you're going up, that speed, you're under 20 miles an hour. It's not like you need a bunch of horsepower. 2.3 is plenty enough for that. So a hybrid, plug-in hybrid would be plenty as well. And you get some low end torque that helps you crawl over there and get it just right. So a plug-in version is a great version, a great idea. So if they do bring a hybrid, hopefully it's a plug-in hybrid for the Broncos. So we'll see how that works out. But
well, I mean,
I think we'll see it.
EV. They have a full EV.
They have, well, not full EV. It's a plug-in.
I thought. Oh, okay.
No, plug-in.
It's a plug-in. Okay.
Yeah, it's a plug-in hybrid, and so if you want to compete with Jeep, you got to go plug-in hybrid.
What about that thing?
That's a Hummer.
Yeah.
We don't want to talk about that. That's a piece of junk.
Oh, I didn't tell you.
It only took 10 days for it to charge on
14.
the showroom. 14 days with a 110 outlet.
I went back to see Levo, and he had a blue Hummer. I'm like, did we get this one too? And he goes, no, this is a customer. So we've had this customer in with 5 different vehicles, all getting ceramics from us. I was like, okay. So,
Maverick's sitting there at 68%. So Mike M had asked there, is Ford staying with the dealer model where dealers can sell EV only, blue or no? They never said. A lot of people interpreted the headlines on that as saying that you had to choose one or the other. They didn't realize, no, you just had to sign up for EV if you wanted. You could still sell the Ford Blue, but
which is now you can. There's
now every dealer,
everyone.
Basically, a dealer can just sell whatever they want. So yeah, now they've said that Model E is gone. It's basically just self-destruct, just tear down the signs. It's not even coming. So yeah, they redid it. Too many dealers were complaining that, hey, I've been able to sell EVs all this time and now I can't sell them. Yeah. But you're going to make me service them. So they pretty much opened it up. Yeah, we talked about that a couple weeks ago. So there you go.
I will say Mike M does have a point here. EVs are not affordable. I'm sorry, most families don't have money sitting around to just buy or lease a car for fun, which they may go from a hybrid to an EV, which is what Lebo and I have considered. No gas to buy, but most states, including Tennessee, add a surcharge to registration for EVs, $600 in Tennessee, which, yes, the taxes, registration, those tend to be higher on the EVs.
Because you're not stopping at gas stations, and that's usually where you get help pay for the roads.
Yes.
Because a lot of your taxes from your gas comes from
which,
to help pay.
like California has said, we've seen like we don't have enough in our funds to take care of our roads and keep them sustainable because so many people have moved over to EV. We aren't seeing the gas tax. So now they've started charging per mile. I'm not sure how they're regulating that or whatnot. Probably get your mileage at the beginning of the year and mileage at the end of the year. I'm
or
not
maybe
sure.
in the last year. I don't know.
But they've moved to that, so that way EVs are helping pay for the roads too.
Yeah.
Because I get that, but then insurance tends to be higher on an EV. So it's just
Well, if you look at it, I mean, we've got some pretty good leases out right now. I mean,
right.
if you're a family that has 2 vehicles, the EV prices has come down so much that second vehicle can be an electric vehicle.
Mhm.
It really can. I mean, if I'm sitting there and I'm looking and going, okay, you know what? It's a no-brainer for me. Let me jump in the Mach-E that is not going to have to use any gas. Let me go to the store in it. Let's go out to eat in that. Let me go on and drive that to work. Let me save my gas for the Bronco for those trips and going off-roading, that kind of stuff. Or like if we're going as a family, Barb and I, there's no reason not to take the Mach-E and not use any gas in town, right? But we're going to go on that trip. Let's take that expedition. So we're seeing more and more families have one EV in their driveway.
Yes.
Vaughn Gittins said that.
Yes.
He said, as long as EVs are available, I'm going to have at least one EV in my driveway.
And usually the way that families handle that is whoever has the longer commute takes the EV because then you're using it for the longer time. But then they have that gas vehicle for when they take trips as a family or they're going longer distances.
Or in my case, Barb won't drive an EV, so I drive the EV. No, I'm the EV proponent and Barb is not. So I'm sitting here and have the view of both because like I said, she's not anti-EV. She's just doesn't want to get in one because she's afraid she's going to run out of energy or whatever. It's that part of it's just the education of it.
Right.
But you are right. EVs have been so expensive. Crazy expensive until they bring that price down. And yeah, Ford needs to come out. I've said this for a while. Ford needs to come out with a $30,000 EV, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I've thought about EV. Lebo's not too excited about EV. He's more okay with a plug-in hybrid where he can plug in at night and we have EV, but then we also have gas backup. He's still nervous about full EV, whereas I've traveled with you enough to see the capability of the EV and know that I'll be okay.
Well, you saw our last trip to Kansas City, which
we made it all the way
we
to
have
KC.
another trip to Kansas City coming up in about 3 weeks, right? We're flying out of Kansas City, direct flight to Detroit. So we're gonna do that. We'll drive to the last trip. We drove to the airport. It took us, usually can drive the airport in 2 hours and 30 minutes. It was 2 hours and 45. We went about 70 miles an hour instead of 75.
Yeah.
We got there in 2 hours and 45 minutes, an extra 15 minutes. We did struggle this trip getting the right charger because there was a charger that was broken, but we didn't take us that long. We got another charger and got it charging. And I mean, we were on our trip. You can ask Ridgeview. We were on our trip and I said, well, the Mach-E's fully charged.
Yeah.
We should be good when we get back. And sure enough, we got back 100% charged and we drove back and with no problem. And that's just, again, I call it a shorter trip. It was a 200-mile trip to Kansas City.
Yes. Which, if you're ever looking at the Kansas City map, we were looking at it and I was looking for the chargers and it says, well, we have this many EV spots and this many EV ADA spots. And I'm like, what is ADA? And you didn't know. And then we get there, we found out that those are the accessible spots. Those are the handicap accessible spots. So you can't park in those.
So there was one that there was a charger available, but it was a handicap spot. So of course we didn't charge on that one.
So in case, and I'm not sure if they use that language elsewhere, that might just be at the Kansas City airport. Maybe. But there might be chargers in other areas like that are only handicap accessible.
There was like I think 3 or 4 locations. And what's really cool is like Kansas Airport had one in the really expensive parking garage, the surface parking, which is outside the parking garage, which is less expensive, or even the economy,
Yes.
which is even less expensive. But those are all outside, so they kind of, they've been weathered. They actually been around for a long time.
Yeah.
So some of those were the one we found that it was broken down, which we contacted them to let them know that. But yeah, so it's a little bit of education. I mean, you're more apt to it because we've done it.
Mhm.
And I will say this, I would be more willing to get a plug-in hybrid than a full EV. So if I had a plug-in hybrid option and I'm sorry, but I don't think an Escape is a cool vehicle. And to me, it's not a vehicle that I would own. It's not. I don't think it looks cool. I don't think it looks fun.
I'm not
I don't
into
think
the
it.
Escape.
I don't think it drive. It's a fun vehicle to drive. But it is the only plug-in version Ford has right now. So if they could bring out a plug-in and a Bronco Sport, maybe some other versions, I would definitely be all in on a plug-in. I think I'd love to see more plug-in hybrids and the adoption of that.
Well, and I like the old Escape, that box body. I don't like the new Escape body. It looks like everything else.
You mean the Bronco Sport look?
That's what I was about to say. I love the Bronco Sport. That's the exact body type of vehicle that I absolutely adore.
Yeah. So, not that I wanted to go on an EV like rant here, but we're also talking, and when we talk about this, talk about Maverick and the importance that Maverick has. Hybrid, 42 miles to the gallon. People have asked, are they going to make a full EV Maverick? I don't think they need to when you can get 42 miles per gallon in the Maverick, right? I mean, it's so fuel efficient. I mean, here's the big thing. How many miles can you Maverick owners, that people that are out there that have Maverick hybrid, what are you getting on one tank of gas? I mean, Ridgeview was saying 500, more than 500 miles on his. Actually helped him get a little bit more fuel economy when we were there. But, you're getting, 40, 50, you're getting a lot of fuel economy. So 31 votes, 67% still said Maverick. It's that bad. And that kind of thing. It's the bed. Now that the bigger question might be like Ragnar Khan said, Escape hybrid versus a Bronco Sport hybrid would probably be a better comparison. Which would you be more willing? I'd be all in Bronco Sport on that case. But there you go. Check that out. I get 1,300 miles in my plug-in minivan. And
my gosh!
And when you think about that, if you're somebody that commutes all electric, we talked to Mid-Coast Maine went to dinner with us when we were in Maine, and he had a plug-in hybrid, and he said he used his almost all the time on plug-in hybrid so much that the system actually told him that he had to go in hybrid mode because the brakes needed they needed to be worked or something like that. So it's like, oh no, it's supposed to be Escape and Bronco Sport,
right?
Because they're both SUVs. But what did you put, Escape or Maverick? Okay, both hybrid. So so that does, sometimes you'll need to go on that. But yeah, that's if you're going in all plug-in. You switch. What's great about a plug-in is you can switch from hybrid mode to a full EV mode, and a lot of them will get 20, 30 miles on full EV. Yeah. And my commute each day is 15 miles. I'm within that. So I could go in all electric mode to and from work and then go, oh, well, I can take this to the airport. Don't have to worry about it. Right. Put it on hybrid mode on the highway. Boom, boom, boom. Get back into the Kansas City where it's a little bit slower. I could kick it over to all EV mode and go that route and, and then come back. And that's true. You're getting a lot more miles than 42 miles in a gallon. Right. So I'd love to see Ford evolve a little bit more in a sense of not necessarily full EVs, but more plug-in hybrids. I'd love for them to invest in that. Plus, think about that. How many batteries could they do? How many, instead of one full EV, how many plug-in EVs could they make with the same batteries? Right? They could probably make 3 plug-ins for one full electric when you think about that way. That's another way of looking at it too. But anyway, but more importantly, here's the last quote from, and then we'll move on to questions. That was in this article by Jim Farley. He says, we will continue to offer customers awesome choices across gas, hybrid, and electric for work and for play. So he says, I could say, take it from a car guy that electric vehicles are a great choice for many people, but you are better off trying one for yourself and making your own choice, own decision. What's more American than that? Who knows? You might just surprise yourself. I know I did. So, yeah, what's more American? When we get into 4th of July, what's more American than choices, right? And being able to just try it for ourselves and we can make our own decision. That's what's great about America, right?
Yeah.
So, anyway, nice little article there. And yeah, check out the link if you want to read the full article or watch the video interview that he did.
So one
Down
thing
there
I
too,
want to say
so.
is how many of our employees here at the dealership didn't really like EV, but then they were told drive the EV for a weekend, drive it for a few days, and how many of them now have a mach-e or an EV vehicle here?
Mike Moll is thinking about buying one now.
Yes, he
After
is.
they lowered the
But
price
we
even
have
more.
like Rebecca, we have Ryan, we have Kyle.
I have one.
You have one.
Jeff has
Jeff
one.
has one. Like, but it wasn't until they were like, drive it home for a few nights. Tell us what you think.
Yeah, and that's just like with anything, you know. That's why they thought I think a lot of people thought on the Maverick that they weren't going to sell them until they actually gave dealers, you know, get them those stock ones. So that's why they're going to give every dealer 3 stock ones so that customers could drive them and experience them and everything, and then see if they'd like them before they'd actually order one. And then they realized that they already were getting so many orders because people were like, I don't need to drive it. It's a hybrid truck. I'm all in. Bring it on. Right. So anyway. Now that's a lot heavier Maverick than so. All right. So anyway, so there's that.
All right.
Yeah. Q&A.
Q&A. All right.
I promise next week we won't talk EV.
You hope. What does it cost to charge your vehicle when you go on your trip?
Okay.
And how long does it take to charge the vehicle?
That does vary on what chargers because there are several different chargers. Now, we went to the airport. So when we got there, what was I at? Was I at 20%? Might have been at 20 or 30%, but it cost us $17 on that. And now that is a slower charger. So there are different ones because the airports, they want you to charge slower. For one, it's better for your vehicle, but for two, they know you're going to be overnight. You probably flew somewhere, and so you're going to be plugged in for a day or two or whatever. Just like you'll see at hotels, a lot of times hotels will have like a 30, 40, or maybe a 50 amp charger, so it's a slower charge, but wants to make sure that you're fully charged that next morning. So they'll make it to where it'll charge in about 8 to 10, about somewhere around 8 to 10 hours that you'll have that charge back up. But if you go to like some of the DC fast chargers, I like to look for at least 150 kilowatt. So the Mach-E stops you at 150 kilowatts. So it won't charge any faster than that because it wants to protect that battery integrity. But there are also those 350s. Teslas can charge a little faster, some other vehicles as well. You can find some 350 kilowatts, but the faster they go, the more expensive they are to charge. So again, it costs $17 to charge it from about 25 to 30% to 100%. So that's it. Most of them, because you don't want to charge once you get to 80. So here's the thing on when you're charging an EV, you have that battery. So if you ever had a computer where you had defragged your computer and you saw that the matrix, filling in slots and everything, it's kind of like that. So when your battery's low, it's just going to feed that everywhere because there's so many cells in the battery that needs to be filled up. But then as you get closer to 80% and from 80 to 100, it needs to, take a little slower. So it'll slow down the rate, but then also it'll increase the cost on those chargers. So usually you want to get off the chargers at 80% when you're traveling on the DC fast chargers. Yeah. And so also it's not good for you to charge all the way up to 100% because that's not good on the battery on those DC. The switching the AC to DC power. So, yeah. But there are also chargers that are 60 and some that are at 125. You can get those, but again, the faster they are, the shorter time they take. And I'd say for the most part, if you're traveling, you're trying to get like a Mach-E that's a 91 kilowatt battery, you can go from 30 to 80% in about 25 to 30 minutes. Actually, what's really cool, I found this out. ChargeWay has an app, and I was playing around with this. You can actually put in your own vehicle in there, and it knows, like, I have my mach-e extended range in there, and I can put it in and say, okay, I'm pulling up to the charger and I have 30% battery. It says that. And then you pick the charger you're going to, and you also put in there that I want to go to 80%. Well, it'll tell you when you hit that charger how long it'll take you to charge from 30 to 80% on that charger.
Right.
That's pretty cool. So that's a pretty cool app. So it's a great way, but most of them, I'd say typically most EVs are about the same way. It is about 30 minutes to go from like a 30 to an 80% charge.
Yeah.
Which, it is a little bit longer, but what's it take for you to gas a vehicle, go to the bathroom, get a drink and everything? Well, here's the thing. You don't have to stand at a pump. You can plug it in and then walk in.
Yeah.
And then you can go to the bathroom, get your beverage and everything. But also, you're 20, 30 minutes, at a charger, versus, is it going to take longer for you to go on a longer trip if you're going to go across country? Yeah, it will. I mean, it is, but
just plan your charge times around your food times.
Yeah, we did that when we drove to St. Louis, and we charged, and we got to Topeka, and this is when it was like 30 degrees out. Got to Kansas City or Topeka, and we charged while we ate at Chick-fil-A. Actually, we didn't eat at Chick-fil-A. We got the food to go, and we said, well, let's just eat in the truck. And I barely got my food down, and it was ready to go.
Yeah. So
we went in, got our food, went to the bathroom, got our food, came back to the truck, and I barely got my food eaten. And it was at what, 80 or 90, 80%, I think, 85, I think. And then we went on, and then we did have to charge for about 15 minutes in Kansas City because I want to top it off before heading across into Missouri. And then I think we stopped around dinner time or something, or something, and we charged there for 30 minutes while we ate an early dinner, and then we got on to St. Louis.
It actually kept our meal times more regular.
Routine for us when we're traveling doing those things. We forget to eat. But and the charging network is getting better. I mean, it used to be for us even a year ago. So a year ago, I had a Lightning, and you had to hope you could get to Kansas City because there's no place else to charge between Salina and Kansas City. In a Lightning, there's no place you could charge until you got to Topeka. And so you had to hope you get to Topeka. Well, 131 kilowatt battery, I didn't have a problem. But some, like a Mach-E, there are people with a Mach-E that struggle.
Yes.
Unless they slow down. Now, though, there's a charger. There's those travel 24/7s. There's a charger in Abilene. There's one in Maple Hill. There's 2 other spots now available, plus all the Teslas.
Yes.
Which I still don't have an adapter yet from Ford. But
I will say, going out to Colorado, it's still a little sparse in some areas, but they're getting there.
Yeah, well, especially Denver and all those areas, they're really heavy in chargers and everything. Yeah. But yeah, some of the Western Kansas and all that, but they're getting a lot more of them. So now we're seeing the 24/7 plazas plus all the Tesla chargers.
Yeah,
that are going to be available, and we'll be able to use those Tesla chargers. So the infrastructure is changing. But anyway, next question.
So I like this one. I wonder if you can make an EV into a race car, and maybe not the type of race car you would think, like racing on a track with other, like, I don't know, the Indy 500 or whatever. Not that, but rally racing.
Yeah. I mean, and a lot of people are like, well, how long are you going to sit there and charge while everybody else is driving? But most of those the races aren't that long. They're not you don't
rally racing isn't laps, laps around laps. It's you're doing quick bursts of,
I think they do a track. I haven't watched it.
I think they have a track. Some do have tracks. Some are like this distance of off-roading, going through trees, going on a trail, that sort of thing quickly. Now, we saw one in Rebel Rally. Yeah, we saw mach-e in Rebel Rally, and that's an 8-day race
and they charge at night.
They go out off-roading. Now, the other vehicles have to fill up with gas while they're doing that because their off-roading is like from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. They are off-roading, maybe not 8 p.m., but 4 p.m. But they're off-roading for close to 8 hours. You have to fill up with gas. They stop at gas stations. Well, a lot of the gas stations in that area either had EV chargers or they had a mobile truck that they set up at those gas stations for them.
For that event, they did, yeah. So a lot of times they went out off-roading for quite a while, and then they came back and charged at the base camp. And then when they had a point-to-point one, then they actually had the mobile chargers at a certain spot, and they had to stop there and charged, and then they went on. But so you're going to see more of that. Well, okay, look at the 24-hour Le Mans.
Yes.
The winners are driving EVs. They have a class for the EV, and they're all like EVs.
Yes,
I think, or at least they're hybrids.
Well,
Maybe they're hybrids.
I mean, even like you had said earlier, Von Gittin drives an EV. He doesn't drive it for his races, but he did drift one, and he said it's quite fun.
So one of the funny things is we'll go on a trip with the Bronco, and the Bronco does have a Roush exhaust, so it's kind of loud. And she gets done with the trip. She goes, "Oh, quiet." Like she'll get an Expedition. I said, "Well, you should drive an EV if you want quiet." So sometimes, like, and he said that too, is he's racing for a weekend. You know, he hears that motor running, and just getting off the plane and getting in a quiet EV on his drive home is just like, he says, it's relaxing.
I bet. Like, I have sensory issues. Getting on a plane, even for me, that's a lot of loud noise. So when you and I were on the planes through Maine, that was a lot of just stuffy plane sound for 5 hours.
Yeah.
Getting into your mach-e afterwards and driving home.
You slept.
I slept.
Yeah, you slept. It's quiet. Anyway, again, I'm not like trying to sell an EV. Like I said, get what you like to drive. It's all about that. It's all about the fun. Well, for those, like, some people can't, like I said, don't have a choice. They don't have the income or whatever, and I get that. They need to have some affordable EVs, but you enjoy driving. I can tell you that I'm paying less than my Maverick on this Mach-E.
Yeah.
So
is there a breakdown on the lease for Mach-E?
So there's some, like Ford put out some good leases I mentioned earlier. You just have to figure it out, because if you have equity and if you have a trade-in and you have equity in the trade-in, then that can affect it. That's what helped me. I have a really, really cheap lease, but I also had equity in the Maverick going into that, because I had equity in the Lightning going into it. And anyway, I've carried them all over. So that affects it. Actually, my lease is cheaper than my son's Mach-E, and his is a Select. So he's a little jealous, actually. But anyway, right now, especially if you can find a 23 at a dealer lot, what they have right now, Ford has on 23 model year, they have up to $11,000 red carpet lease cash. So that's a pretty big deal. And so you can get a really good lease on a 23. And because of that, that's why they have 23 Mustang Mach-E Select standard range, rear wheel drive, $318 a month. And that is with $3,000 down, it says in here as an example. But I think you can get even close to that without that money down. I mean, I think that's going at MSRP, and like we're off MSRP on ours. So like if you took, like, our price is not including any kind of rates, because there aren't any rebates on Mach-E right now. So I think we're like $5,000 off on some of our Mach-Es. So you get that $5,000 savings is going to be much. That's, instead of putting $3,000 down, we've done it for you in a sense. But ours are 24s though. So. Yeah. And then on 24 model year, there's $7,500 red carpet lease cash on all trims, right? So, and that's crazy. And then if you don't, and here's the deal on EVs right now. Technology is changing so drastic, and values are adjusting so drastically up and down, that I think you're better off leasing an EV right now than purchasing an EV. Because then you're kind of tied into that value. So if those values, like, let's say you get an EV now and they plummet and they go down another $5,000, right? We just saw a price decrease on EVs about $5,000 to $8,000 on the Mach-E. Well, what if you were one of the ones that bought it before they went down? You just lost $8,000 of equity in that vehicle right there, because they did a price decrease. So, but if you lease, you don't have to worry about that. When that lease is up, you don't have to worry about the value of that vehicle after those 2 to 3 years. You just walk away. That's what's great about that. There is a 0% APR for 60 months on all trims as well, if you want to go that route. But I think you really the thing you need to do is, if you can, lease an EV. That's the best case scenario. Again, let Ford take that hit if that value starts to plummet, if it comes down even more on EV technology and such. So anyway, so there's that.
All right. I had a Transit built in March of 25 or March 25th. It's still awaiting shipment via convoy. Could it have been hail damaged, causing delay? Will the extent of damage be disclosed before delivery?
We don't know necessarily that has any kind of hail damage. It says awaiting shipment via convoy. I don't know. I saw my mach-e sit on a truck on a convoy for a week before it arrived here.
Yeah, but he said it's been built since March 25th.
It could be, and that's a possibility. But a lot of times they will fix it completely. We have
March is a long time.
It is.
The hail wasn't until
the hail
April.
The hail didn't happen, at least in Kansas City area, until it was May.
It was May.
Ours were May 19th, so it was right around. It was in May, so back then it wouldn't have been hail damage. So that wouldn't be the case. So it probably was something else. It could have been damaged in the shipment. I don't know. We received a 23 Maverick that was built back in December, and we finally got it in May. But you look at that thing and it is perfect. So if there's damage in shipment, what'll usually happen, and what you'll find is a lot of those little centers are places that they can take and put back into the factory. So we noticed that Maverick actually ended up at the Kansas City assembly plant. So there probably was some damage on the vehicle, but if they repair it on the factory level before it gets to a dealer, then it doesn't have to be necessarily disclosed, but it'll be perfect. So if a vehicle arrives at a dealer, unless it arrives on as a convoy damage, if it was any damage on the rail or anything else, they will take care of it before they put it on a convoy, and it will be perfect. And you don't have to worry about any damage or anything. They'll make sure it's 100% completely right. So now if it's damage on the convoy or something, like we've had some show up with some damage, a bumper here or whatever, our body shop fixes that before we put it out there. So we had some that had some hail damage on it, and Ford pays for that. If there's any damage that we see, Ford takes care of that, because or the shipper does. And that's usually not going to show on any kind of like report, because it was done prior to sale. But not saying that's what's going on with you. It could be something totally different. Here is a possibility too that we saw happen, is that because so many vehicles had to be checked for hail.
Oh yes.
There were 58,000 vehicles in Kansas City that had to be inspected before they could be moved on. And because of that, a lot of them got delayed. Not that the vehicle had damage, but it had to be checked before it could be shipped out. And they had companies doing that, and it took them a while to get through all those.
Yeah.
So anyway, okay.
If you have a vehicle in the order bank, but they balance out before you're scheduled, will you get a chance to be first in line for a 25? So it used to be that Ford was having the dealer roll that over. So the dealer would place a new order, and that's how you got your private offers. But now Ford has given their dealers how many allocations they'll be getting in the year. So they're saying that if they have orders in the order bank, it's the dealer's responsibility. So Ford will not do that. Your dealer will need to place a new order for you, and it is up to the dealer's discretion to put you first in line. So by putting you as the highest priority that they can, new orders in as a 10, those rollover orders as a 9, so on and so forth. But it's left up to the dealer's discretion.
Yeah, so you will not get rolled over and be the first one to get a 25. That's up to the dealer. So it's totally on the dealer in the way of the orders. So like she said, they're not really telling you, because like right now it's a rolling monthly. So we don't know what allocations we're going to get next month.
Mhm.
We only know what we got this month. So we can't have any guarantee on anything. But so they say you shouldn't take more than what you think you can get. Um, but they have no intention, especially on the Maverick, to roll. There's not going to be any private offers. So if you're out there and you have an XL order in or something like that, and you still haven't been scheduled, there's no guarantee. Ford is not going to get private offers for the
No.
Maverick because they've been
Yeah.
able to make enough.
Yeah, but it's up to your dealer to put you ahead of the new orders by putting you at the lowest priority that they choose to.
Yeah, and that's what we did when we had 23s that didn't get scheduled, and so we put those in. We have to reorder them as 24s,
Mhm.
but what we did was we made sure those orders were given the highest priority possible.
Yep.
If we had new orders put in, they did not. So doesn't mean they wouldn't be selected first, because all has to do with configuration that they're looking for within allocations.
Mhm. Yep.
So like if we were somehow we have 115 allocations this month, let's say we had 120 orders, right? So 5 of those wouldn't get selected and be the ones that aren't the configuration looking for. So we have,
Right.
that's a thing. So there is a possibility that we could have 80 retail orders and then have stock orders, and we could have we could have more stock ones and maybe not even a retail schedule, because if it's a configuration, like you said, if you end up ordering something like an XL hybrid with a tonneau cover, I can tell you we're going to get a stock will get scheduled instead of that retail all day long, because you got a tonneau cover on there and you got a XL and a hybrid, which are 3 strikes against you. So
Yes.
you gotta build it within some of the things that I've told people about. We might have to revisit that maybe on a Maverick video, but because we're going to have some people, but that's how you need to, go about that. So we forgot to tell them that they need to contact us. If you do want to put an order, you're still in the live stream. Contact us, email us, Sarah Davis at Mom McArthur.
Yeah. I have the name of someone that said that he sent in to our website already, so I got his name.
Okay. We just want to make sure we put it in and get you
Taken
taken
care of.
care of and get it ordered and get us the highest, get you the
Yes.
highest priority. So
All right, Databetics says price increases from Ford, so it's not like the dealer's getting any more money from the increase.
there probably will be. So that's going to be your MSRP price. So there'll be the invoice price will go up too, probably, but they might be a little bit. The dealer might get a little bit more. I'm not sure.
All right. Any word on if Ranger Raptor will be less limited in the next model year?
No, they probably won't. The Raptors in general have a limited. Yeah, I mean the big thing about that is that they're the capabilities of them, but also the exclusivity of that as well. So they want to do both. So they're not going to build too many that it becomes just like any other model and not be a special. So they still want to be a special, vehicle, a special trim, a special type of build. So it will always be exclusive. And so I'd say not, but
Yeah.
I think a lot of dealers are down to MSRP on those. So.
Do you have a 25 Ford Explorer on the lot yet? And if so, will you be doing a detailed walk around?
We do not, and like we mentioned earlier, they're going to start ship. They're going to hold them for 6 weeks, so we probably won't see one until next month sometime.
Yes. But he does have order guide videos, right?
Yep.
So if you would like to order one or would like information on the different trim levels and how they are different, he has the Explorer videos live so that you can go through those and see what's different in between them.
And if you want to look at a good video, we actually at the auto show, we went to the Chicago Auto Show where they had that firsthand, and we did a walk around on a Platinum and an ST. So you can check that video out where we kind of showed what the front's going to look like and the different change on the inside with the brand manager there that went over it with us. So you can check that video out as well under that. So
we do have a walk around
in a
on
sense,
25 in Chicago.
In Chicago, yeah, on a pre-production one. So
there you go. If I order 24 Maverick Lariat trimmer and then I find I like the 24 model better, is it hassle to change my order to 25? So if your order is in there and it hasn't been scheduled, you can just cancel it.
Oh yeah, we'll
And
just
tell your dealer, I would like a 25. Your dealer may give you priority because you have had a 24 order placed. But by canceling it, then your dealer won't have one come in that just sits on the lot because you aren't taking it. If it has been scheduled,
you shouldn't be tied to anything anyway unless you put a deposit down.
Yes.
Like we're not taking deposits on Maverick. So if you order with us, I mean, if you don't take it, we'll just put it on our lot. We'll just sell it on our lot. I mean, it's not a big deal. We'll just reorder you at 25.
Yes.
I mean, it shouldn't be that simple and that easy. Yeah. If you have one in there and let's say it gets scheduled this month for September build date, and then in a month we find out, which that's just a month away. August is just a month away. You find out in a month that, okay, the 25 isn't going to have that goofy look on the front of it. I do like the 25. They listened and they didn't, they changed, they just were teasing people or whatever. And you decide you like the look of the 25, then you could order 25 in August. And then we would just take that order and we would just say, okay, no problem. We'll just order you a 25. We actually had that happen with one of our members on a Bronco. Yes. They had a 23 on order and was scheduled. And then they said 24 is going to come standard with a 12-inch touchscreen. And they're like, I'd rather have that one. So then we just ordered them a 24. And we said, not a problem. We'll just sell the 23 when it comes in.
Yep.
That's exactly what happened. So should not, again, depending on the dealer, shouldn't be a big deal. Hopefully they don't ask you for a deposit. But that would be the only issue there is if they ask for a deposit. And they may not want to give you a deposit back. That might be the only kicker. So you might, again, like I say in all the videos on Escape, ordering tips is get that information before you sign anything, before you get tied to anything or put any deposit down. Find out how are they going to price it when it comes in? What are their dealer fees? What do they add to the vehicle? Do they know about price protection and all that other stuff? And I don't say that to say just painting a bad picture and say just order from us because we know all that stuff and we're transparent to get go, but we do. So anyway,
if you would like to order with us, you sure can.
Yep, like I said, especially on the Maverick, we have plenty. M.O. Culpepper, we need you to come to Salina and teach me how to rally my mach-e. Mm-hmm. I saw you in there in the chat.
Yes.
You know what? If we pay for his flight, he might actually.
Well, I could drive a mach-e
in your off season, or let me. You know what? Might be even more fun is for me to go and go to one of his races. So the next time you're coming up to Topeka to drive to race, you let me know. We'll take the time. We'll go over and watch, and you can teach me all about it. Yeah.
Well, and maybe he hasn't driven a rally mach-e yet.
Yeah, I'd love, actually we have some, how up there in the old airport, they'll race, they'll do that. Mm-hmm. They had suggested going up there and I said, you know what might be fun video is to take the mach-e rally up there and say, hey, I'd love your opinion on this. Here's the keys, drive it through the course. Tell me what you think. Ooh. And get the reaction afterwards to see because I think there are a lot of people like, oh, the rally is just a joke. It's not
that
really
would be fun.
It's not really a rally type of car. And it'd be really nice to let people that do rally or drive in that way, those courses or whatever, to say, what do you think?
Yeah, it would be a good series. Like, hey, I go up there.
Kind of, yeah. We'll have to find out when they're doing that. I know they used to do it like once a month or something, don't they? They used to be like every other week there for a while.
Yeah.
Maybe that's in the fall. When I see them, usually I see them going to church. Because they're up there on the way to church.
I was going to say, well, let me talk to my contact because I have someone that actually goes to those races every week or every time they are.
So it says SCCA's home office is in Topeka.
Let us know you're here.
I want to do like a Bronco off-roading, but rally
edition,
rally rodeo, something, whatever they want to call it.
I want to do that. We know me.
Yeah.
As we saw at Bronco Off Rodeo, slow. Yeah, I've been told I have a heavy foot, or we have a running joke about that. It's not a joke, it's truth. Yeah.
Your foot doesn't have to be very heavy with an EV. Just saying. All right. What else we got? Any other questions?
It's actually better to practice not having a heavy foot because I had Lebo in there with me and he had a cold. And so, like, he didn't like the lurching, so I had to be very careful on my takeoffs and slow downs. And
Oh yeah. So figured out Jaden wants to ride in the EV, and I'm like, oh, why do you want to? I asked him the other night when we were coming home because he just came home with me. I go, why do you want to ride that? Because blue's my favorite color. I'm like, oh, it's not because it's got cool racing stripes.
oh, I think once he's in it, he's gonna find out it's fun.
He might actually. I think I've taken off in one of those, and he didn't like it.
Oh, really?
Will would probably like it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Theo. Oh my gosh. I backed out of the driveway and there was a car coming and that it was like down the street, but on my street the cars move fast. So I had to turn really quick and Theo just started giggling and I'm like, okay.
Anyway.
Rock climber, car racer, Theo.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I don't see any other highlighted comments. No. We get everybody's comment?
Yes. And for hybrid Escape versus Maverick, 82% for Maverick, 17% for Escape.
Yeah. All right. Maverick's a winner.
But we have this is
if it
a lot of our people Maverick, here are Maverick people. So.
Maverick hybrid, I tell you.
A lot of people are Maverick Bronco people here. And we have the Super Duty.
But you know, hey, the difference is on a Bronco Sport, you get a free off-roading experience.
Yes. Yes.
And they also have more events like Bronco Super Sub where they do off-roading and stuff like that. Just saying, bring your Bronco Sport. Anyway, all right. Let's see, we haven't really talked much about the events. We should have done that earlier. That's coming up in a month. We need to start
putting that at the beginning when we have more people here.
So that'll be here coming in a month. If you're one of our members, of course, we'll have some special events during that weekend for you. Hopefully you guys can come and of course need to fill out the form and everything. We have it on our website about the event for the public and everything with the drive and the Cars and Coffee. We're going to do some fun mach-e drives as well for those that want to take some rides in that on that Saturday before they eat lunch because I want to vomit in the car.
Before lunch.
All right. Anything else? Rant?
If you want to go to that event, we have information on our website under the events tab, along with a form to fill out to RSVP for the drive and the car show.
Yeah, it's under the events tab. It's Ford Video Guy YouTube Weekend.
Yes. Go fill that out to secure your spot and lunch.
Yeah, we need a head count for people that are doing their drive so we know how many box lunches to get. Yeah. And then once we kind of get a number and everything, we'll try to get that ahead of time. We'll try to get communicate. Did you ask them for email addresses and stuff?
Yes.
Okay. That way we have that kind of stuff. But anyway.
So if you would like to order with us, I saw Bringus on here. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He lives in Texas. If you order with us and you are out of state, we have a few options. We either offer up to $1,000 of shipping if you finance with us at standard rates, or up to $1,000 of travel reimbursed. You do have to finance with us. But if you fly into Wichita, we'll have someone there to pick you up to bring you into Salina. So yeah, we do have options. We can certainly assist you in that. We do a lot of sales out of state, so we are well versed in what needs to happen when it comes to out of state sales.
All right, there you go. There's the information. Sunday, July 21, Kansas SCCA-RX. Sunday Cup, July, I think you forgot the date there. Or that's the Sunday Cup. And then July SCA Kansas Regional McCain's Off-Road.
Do you know where you're going to be?
Park. Yeah, I'll be on vacation. Kansas Rallycross.
Are you going to be there, Emil Culpepper? Because that might be fun to take my boys to.
Anyway, yep, I'll be. The reason we did the intro we did earlier was because I'm getting excited for vacation.
Mm-hmm.
We're heading to Colorado for vacation. Um, and we're gonna hit some trails. We're gonna hit Tin Cup. I think I'm about doing Tin Cup the opposite way we did it.
Oh
So
yeah.
take Cottonwood Pass over, go to Tin Cup and eat breakfast at that Frenchie's.
Yeah.
Eat like a brunch there, and then get on and then then go around to the lake, Mirror Lake, and then go up that way instead. Right? I think that
Yeah.
might be fun. Let her drive the. I'll drive us up to the Continental Divide and let her drive down,
Yeah.
or we can switch back and forth on the way up. But
Yeah.
I thought that'd be a lot of fun going that
Mhm.
way instead. And then I thought about hitting Napoleon Pass. And then we'll see. Maybe Hancock. We'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a couple others. Um, I want to make sure it's trails that I know that I can navigate. Hancock Pass it's getting a little rougher on some of those places. I mean, it might be one of those where we go up a little ways and just turn around
Yeah.
instead.
I
Not
mean,
go all the
especially
way up
if
to
you are
Continental Divide.
coming
I
from
think going up though wasn't too bad. There was the one spot that we needed spotted, but
yes. And then
otherwise,
Tin Cup was the one that passes Mirror Lake. So if Mirror Lake's not passable quite yet, which did he mention if it will be or not? Well, if you're coming from Tin Cup and through there, then you'll be able to see if Mirror Lake's passable or not before you hit it, or like when you get to it and be able to turn back down.
'cause otherwise you got to go a long way back.
Yes. So it's almost better to come from that spot. I think for Bronco
Yeah.
Supercell, Brian and Melissa had already driven that and knew that the water was going to be low enough.
Well, and it really should be because there is a road there, so it should be to where as long as I go slow, I should be able to go through there anyway. I mean, I won't be in an Everglades, but I still have some water fording to do. Anyway, it should be all right. But what's rant tonight? Okay, the only thing that I had that I wanted to rant about was the jack, which I already did earlier in the episode. So that Maverick, where they locate the jack and for a flat tire is incredible. So if you have a Maverick out there and you have kids in car seats, move that jack before you put any car seats in, or take some time to take the car seats out and move it to the back cubby or something, so you can keep it there in case you need to change a flat tire and you don't have to take the kids out of the car seats to do it.
So you've taken over my rant because when I had the Maverick, that was one of my rants was that split bitch seat not being there and having two kids in car seats, not being able to use the underseat storage and not being able to get that jack if I needed to. I was
Yeah.
worried that if I got a flat tire and I was on the road, I would have to take both kids out of the car seats, or I would need to call someone to come out so then I could put the kids in another vehicle for safety because I don't want the kids on the side of the road. Put them in another vehicle, and then at that point be able to take my car seats out,
Yep.
change my tire, and do all of that.
Now, have you seen? Speaking of I was thinking of under storage. There's some. Why couldn't they take the shelf and pull out into the footwell, right? Like take it kind of like if you've seen some of the F-150s that 20% for a while they used to have a drawer under there that you could pull that drawer out, or you could lift the seat up and get to some stuff in there.
Yes.
So Bronco Sport, by the way, passenger side rear seat on a Badlands edition has that seat cushion. It is a 60/40. That seat cushion comes up with a under there. You can easily put the jack there instead. So make that a 60/40. And that way, if they can't get in the whole thing, or think about this, Ford, if you make that full thing available under there and you make a 40% seat that comes up like that, and then the 60% also that lifts up, then you actually could still reach under and get stuff that maybe over there, or maybe put that divider in and stop it from going over there, and you can still have access, and you can put the jack in there, which is where you should put it, because I think the Ranger jack used to be under the seat, I believe, or in the middle of the seat. I don't think it's behind the seat.
It was, because I remember it being mounted underneath the seat.
I think so. I think it depends if it was a super cab or a super crew.
Yes, possibly.
But F-150, it's behind the seat, but it's a 60/40 bench seat. Anyway, that was not fun. It was also 100 degrees out. So I was I kept coming in.
Yeah.
Every time I came in, I got a little more mad.
Yes.
I'm like, I actually have a short. I
Yeah.
might publish it. I need to rewatch it because I was pretty upset. I don't think I
Yeah.
had any swear words. I'm pretty sure I didn't have any swear words. But
Yes.
did I say some mean things to Ford? Maybe. So I might need to second guess that. I might need to wait until August to post it.
But no, it's been one of my rants as a mom with a Maverick that it was very unbelievable to me. And people say, well, call Ford roadside assistance. You have the warranty, you get Ford roadside assistance. Okay, yes, but then I have to wait for them to get to me.
Or if it's a holiday, they won't show up.
That's right. We actually had someone call in and say, hey, I was driving Memorial Day weekend. My car stopped in the middle of the road. My Maverick stopped. Yes. My car stopped, and I called Ford Roadside Assistance, and they said due to the high influx of calls and it being a holiday weekend, we cannot have someone out to you until tomorrow. It was in the middle of the highway in a construction zone.
Yeah.
Blocking traffic. So the officer that showed up called a tow truck for them. Well, they had to put it on the tow truck lot. Ford will only cover up to $112 of towing. So your best bet is to have it towed to the side of the road and leave it there until Ford Roadside Assistance can get to you. But at the same time, if I have a flat tire, it's a holiday weekend, or it's a time where Ford Roadside Assistant can't get to me easily, I'd rather change my tire and get to a safe spot with my kids.
Yeah.
I need to be able to change my tire easily.
You know what I almost did? I almost grabbed the mach-e, my mach-e tire sealant and inflator kit. I almost grabbed that and just left the wheel, the tire on there, and just went. Shh. I was that close. I was that close. I almost did that. I'm like, well, then I wouldn't have one for my car. So
right.
Anyway, so luckily the hole is on the tread, so they should be able to patch it and be okay. Whatever was in there came out. But she might have had something in there from off the road because it didn't happen to her until she had stopped at the house.
Yes.
So luckily, she wasn't on the side of the road, and we fixed it I fixed it in the driveway.
Well,
but
when I got my first car at 16, Grandma got me a car kit to put in the back of it. Do you remember that? My Christmas present that year was a basket full of car necessities with a blanket tied around it. And she said, this is to keep in it. It had crackers, shelf-sustainable crackers, water, a blanket for warmth, a jump pack, and a tire inflator kit. So that way I could fix my own tire.
Yeah.
Or patch it until I could get to a dealership.
By the way, if you're needing some snacks that last a while, Twinkies work.
No.
And probably McDonald's fries. Anyway.
Oh my gosh. No, I saw a video. Her husband had a cheeseburger that he put in the glove compartment, and she said every time they think about going to a fast food restaurant, she pulls it out as an example of, look at this, it's perfect. Like, this burger has not aged a day. Of course, it was a brand new burger and it was satirical, but at the same time, she's like, look, it's so perfect. It's been in here for 5 years.
So if you're watching the skate videos I've been doing, they have changed. It was standard equipment, was a spare tire, and they have changed that to where only the hybrids get a spare tire.
Yes.
And the EcoBoost, it's optional equipment. So what they did is they lowered the price $1,500 almost across the board on all the prices. But if you look, the active went down $1,500. Well, the power lift gate is no longer standard equipment. The spare tire is no longer standard equipment. And so, but if you look at those costs it's $500 for the power lift gate, or $600, and then it's $400. So 1,000, or like close to, it's like $345. So it's pretty close to $1,000 of it is the power lift gate you lost and the spare tire. So when you add those back on as optional equipment, you're right back to almost the price. It's still $500 less, but they took out some other things. Oh, power driver seat is no longer standard, and it was last year.
Yep.
So those three options were things they took off SD content is what I like to call it. And then now you got to go up to that other tech package 1 to get some of it back.
Yeah.
Or the spare tires standalone option and the power liftgate standalone option, which at least if you want those, but you're not going to get a spare tire unless you go to that, I think, tech package 2 or something.
Yeah. But I gotta say, my C-Max, the spare tire, is in the trunk. I keep a lot of stuff in my trunk. But it's easier to remove all of that than my kids.
Well, you see what I did with the Bronco.
Yes.
So the Bronco has a little compartment under there, and I put some stuff in there, and then I noticed on the last trip I had the cooler on there and some other stuff, and I'm like, if I needed to get something under there, I had to move everything. So now what do I have in the Bronco? I have that attic tray. You just pull those, and everything that I would normally put under there, well, plus more, is up in the attic tray. So now I can just pull that down, and it's all up there instead of trying to get it. So it's tucked out of the way of an area where it's not utilized.
Yeah.
And you can see still through the back window and everything. And that is mounts the metal. That is a genius little thing. I like it.
Yeah.
But that is a great way because that is a thing, you can't get under. You have to have stuff like right now in the EV, mine, I have those two chairs in there that I purchased, and they're in the back, but they're not that much in the way, but I could still get to that. I could still lift it up and get in there, but
I have all my side stuff. I have a stroller. I have a box.
But I have the front area. That's where I think I'm gonna move my power cord, move it into the front area.
Yeah.
I did notice that with the one of the things on that though is my lightning. I put something in the front area, and when I'd stop and take off, I'd hear it moving, boom, boom, boom. I'm like, okay, that's moving. So you got to think about that front area and what you actually have in there, and whether or not because it's kind of slick inside there. So if you have something in there, it's got to be something that doesn't make noise when it moves,
or
like a blanket or something, or it doesn't move, right? Because it's sandwiched in there just right. So putting like something small in there, it'll just move around. So I thought, well, I could put my power cord in there. I'm like, no, because it's just going to slide around. So you still gotta think about that front area, and they say, oh, this is a very usable front area, and I'm like, as long as you fill it all up, otherwise things slide around, and it's kind of annoying. Anyway, all right, that was kind of the rant there. But
all right,
9:36. All right, yep, and we are going to be closed July 4th.
Yes.
Which most businesses do. So hopefully you guys all enjoy your July 4th. Come back with all your fingers and toes, please. And
as some people are saying, today might be the last. Was today Tuesday that some Americans have all 5 fingers?
Yeah. All right.
More with that.
Anyway, but yeah, hope you guys have a good July 4th. I am working on the Bronco off-roading video. I'm hoping to have it go live Thursday night. So you might have to see that video. If not, we'll have that go live Friday night, and I'll work on it. But still working on that video from when we went to off-road to see what it's like, the experience is like. Try not right now. It's kind of long, so we'll probably make a couple different versions. One for the channel on the Ford Video Guide channel, a longer version if you want to see some of the trail stuff. There, we'll have that one kind of for that, and then a shorter one for Law McArthur. So there you go.
Yeah.
All right. There's that. All right. Well, thank you guys very much for joining us, and I hope you guys have a great 4th of July. See you guys, members. See you guys Friday for Friday Live. Everybody else, we'll see you guys next week. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Stay positive. Be kind to one another.
And be kind to yourself.
We'll see you later.